Thank you for joining us today. This is Kylie J.N.S. with Mac University. I actually have I'm in the midst of changing my thumbnail. It was wrong thumbnail for the show today. So give me a minute to get it together. Let me get it together. Okay, so we got the thumbnail switch. Nonetheless, happy Thursday. And I just want to do a sound check and we are should be good to go. And so I hope you guys had a great week. Lord have mercy. It is a lot going on in the world. It is a lot going on in the world. And so we here, I ain't even gonna hold you. We here to talk about a lot of stuff today. But we are gonna have a philosophical debate. And not so much a debate, but philosophical discussion. We will touch on some current events. I know there's the war in Iran and whatnot and all this shenanigans. It's a lot. It's too much. And so I hope in the midst of all of that drama that people center themselves and that people are holding up, the commitments to themselves, the trust within themselves, and focusing on rest, okay, meditation of mind, tranquility of mind, and balance in mind. That's what we need to be focused on, especially if you're a woman, the youth, it's a lot going on, but you got to remember there's a lot of virtual media mind games. And so you have to know what you give your energy to, and in the ways in which it affects you. But nonetheless, let me just make sure the sound is good and everything is okay. Let um let us discuss what we're going to talk about today. So we want to talk about, like, does equality exist in a universal context? And so we're going to get some examples. We know society is, obsessed with this notion of equality, the notion of freedom and these things. And we won't really be discussing freedom or liberation, but we're just objectively having a philosophical discussion on equality. And the title is They Have to Pay You to Lose in Order to Compete with You or Block You. And so from my perspective, this is a debate, and this is not a debate, it's a discussion. But, like, say if someone, you want to join and give your perspective, they have StreamYard link that I could send you guys. But nonetheless, I do want to talk about, like, my stance. And my stance is that no true equality exists in nature, at least in this particular vector space that we call 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, whatever, however you want to look at it. We'll say physical matter, physical flesh, right? Five touch senses, five senses. If you have five senses within that particular dimension that you reside in, I would say that there's no true equality. I want to talk about, well, if you say something like that, what philosophical school of thought are you rooting that in? We're rooting it in evidentialism. Okay. So we'll pull up what evidentialism is. So evidentialism is a epistemological theory that means that, like, when you make a statement or an argument, like me saying no true equality exists, okay, that's only justified if I have a preposition or evidence that supports that belief in proportion to that evidence. So if I say that, okay, there's no true equality that exists. Okay, what is the evidence for that particular belief in terms of its epistemic justification? In terms of it, me making the conclusion that is reliable. Now, when you say, like, what's epistemic or what's epistemological, that just means, how do you know what you think you know? Like, how do you know what you think you know? So that's what that means, okay? And so we have evidentialism, me stating no true quality exists. Now, what is my evidence for that? So now that's where I'm coming from. So now let's go and give some examples. And so when we think about, like, the taxonomy of, or the states of categories, such as, let's just keep it really simple. Let's just keep it. We don't have to be all polluting. Let's keep it real simple. You have a apple, right? Fresh apple. You have a fresh apple, and then you have a dead apple. Would you would From your perspective, you're hungry. Would you say that that's equal? The fresh apple or the dead apple? Which one would you pick? Which one would you wouldn't in your mind, these two states would not be equal. A dead apple and a fresh apple is not going to have equal status in your mind when you know you ready to eat. When you know you ready, you're going to pick the fresh apple, right? But hear me out. Not being equal does not mean inferior or superior. So just because I say no true equality exists, it does not mean that I'm stating that something is inferior, something is superior. We're talking about a degree or state of condition. And so an apple that is dead was once fresh. So the state of condition changed. Okay. But hear me out. Yeah, that apple may be dead, but then you can turn around and make compost, and then you can recycle it for fertilizer to make another what? Fresh apple, another apple tree, and make even more apples. And so you don't want to you think that something is okay, the dead apple, it may not be equal to the fresh apple as far as what you want to eat it, but you may throw that dead apple away, or the smart thing to do would be to use it for some sort of compost, recycling it into fertilizer to make another fresh apple tree, or to the continuation of an existing apple tree. Maybe you don't want to make a new one, but the continuation. And so equality in that sense, when we see it in a real objective sense in nature, you have evidentialism to back that up. Now, that's just a really small example. Now, let's go to when it comes to humans. There had in the past they've had very janky scientific theories around justifications for the way they treat people, whether it be their gender, their race. We know about race theory. What's it called? Scientific race theory, as far as like Negroid, Mongoloid, um, Caucasoid, all that. All this janky science as far as measuring skulls and all this shit and all this stuff. Um, when we when someone is talking about equality, again, we're not talking about superior and inferior. We're talking about a degree or state of condition. And so evidentialism, when it comes to humans, would be the only school of thought in which you can apply that concept. You would not be able to use race science or even DNA to make an argument of humans uh and their states of equality as far as different ethnicities, different nationalities. And again, whenever you make these statements about the state of condition or the degree, to objectively prove what is equal and what is not equal, especially when it comes to humans, you have to go by what you can see with your eyes, or what you can see about a state of a formula. So, for instance, melanin. What can you study and what can you observe about melanin? What can you study and what can you observe for those who don't have melanin? What can you and again, we're not talking about inferior or superior, we're talking about a degree or a state of condition. And so that's where we talk about equality, you start to see those type of things. The reason why, look, you say, well, why would we have this discussion? Because sometimes people will create a psyop to get people distracted about things that honestly, it makes you miss the point of what you should actually be focusing on if someone throws out something that is just packaged just enough to get you to think that it's important when really it's not important. So I'll give you an example. Remember during the 1960s with let me just make sure that sound is good. Let's see. The 1960s, there this thing about this segregation, Plessy versus Ferguson. What was it? What was it? Separate but not equal, but separate but equal, separate but equal. And then there was segregation versus integration, right? And so we'll give the example of the civil rights era when we're talking about like this equal rights, equal equality, 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 equality. And so this was the argument that was presented to those people during that time. And it's like equality, separate but equal. So it's like, okay, you guys have these separate schools. So there was a camp of people who wanted on some level segregation. And in law, they would say like, yeah, we could be separate, but we're going to be still equal. And then the other group was like, okay, well, we're paying taxes, but we're not seeing that same representation of taxes within the community in terms of infrastructure. That could be one argument, but in a real way, in a real sense, that argument, what I'm saying is like that wouldn't have been important, like this concept of equality back then. What would have been more important is the sovereignty, is the agency, the autonomy that you have over your community and your life. That's more important than trying to force something to be quote unquote equal. Because now you see today, you see all this fight for equality, and what has it gotten anybody but destabilizations of certain communities more than others to be equal, you know? And so you got to understand when we're talking about credit swiping, and when we're talking about statuses, even um, black and white status, not race, status. And at that time, the status thing was still a thing, but it was going more underground in the 1960s. However, black people, we talk about Tulsa, we talk about the 240 cities that Negroes had. Um, though they were separate, one may argue, as far as equality, obviously in law, it may have been equal, but one may argue that that sovereignty and that autonomy and that agency was a degree or a state of condition that may have been more advantageous for them. Now, we're not talking about Jim Crow. We're not talking about getting knocked upside the head in the 60s. We're not talking about that. We're talking about owning your own hospital, owning your own library, owning your own school, your midwifery, your healthcare, your law, your all of this stuff, and having a say in a very real way in your own politics and your own governance. And so, was it a trick bag to say, "Hey guys, focus on this stuff about this march, and then this equality," and then you get pivoted into someone else's larger economic infrastructure, but you lose your own, and then you don't even realize that they paid off some of your gatekeepers or some of the people you're idolizing to do it. So you're thinking, yeah, this is the good move. They told us, our people have told us this. They came out and they told us this out their mouth that this would be a good thing. And then next thing you know, fast forward to through war on drugs, and fast forward through 1994 crime bill, and then on all up in 2008 mortgage crisis, and then all the way to 2026. Um, and even the enshrouded taciturn warfare that they subliminally um, declared, even on the black community, whether that be through no touch psych warfare or economic destabilization and representational destabilization, even in government and politics, and especially. And so, you know, that's what I mean by like, you want to be careful of following, like this psyop of these things, these concepts that seem on surface to be really good. Like who doesn't, yeah, quality sounds good to me. But it's like, was that the distraction, or was that what you should have even been focused on? Maybe you should have just been focusing on your sovereignty. Maybe equality just wasn't even what to be focused on at all. But when we say sovereignty, like what does that even mean? That means focusing on yourself and in your own community. That doesn't mean fighting other people. That doesn't mean, oh, I start a war, I'm going to steal from these other people because I don't have. It means exactly what it means, sovereignty. And so you see how that's how, the when you're not focusing on that, then there's probably some other agenda at play, whether that be fascism, imperialism, whatever agenda somebody else wants, and it gets you caught up in they shit. And so you have to think about, that's what I think about, rather, when I was studying like the 1960s. And so, well, why did they give up their own economic infrastructure to join? And then people were, I think there was like a running joke that Malcolm X said at one point, where these people, and you can agree with him or not, but he was like, it's like you fighting to be able to sit at a movie theater with another person that don't want to sit at a movie theater with you. You're fighting to go to someone else's school when they made it clear they didn't want you at their school. And so you see the pictures. They used to show us these pictures in the textbook of of a black person walking on the campus of a segregated school and getting eggs thrown at them, spit on, hair pulled, and all this stuff because they didn't want you at the school. But you see, because they wanted to be equal. But here's the thing: was that is actually this what we talk about, like taciturn and shrouded warfare, like something that actually distracts you. That's actually probably not where the focus should have ever been. Why would you subject yourself as a human to force yourself in someone else's shit where you got to walk to school with security guards and you see a bunch of people hauling eggs at you and spit at you and get out of here, you N word. Wouldn't you just say, I think we should just start our own school. We got some bad educators around here. We got some we come up with some all types of theories, all types of inventions, all types of new genres of music, school of thoughts, philosophical stuff, spiritual stuff. Well, why don't we just start our own school? You would think that would be the thinking. That should have been the thinking. And the states of condition, the concept of equality wouldn't even apply to that. You see what I'm saying? Like the concept, if this is the thinking, okay, they said they didn't want to say their school, blah, blah, blah. Let's just build our own school. But you see how the focus is not even on equality anymore. The focus is on yourself, your community, and building up some sort of infrastructure for your community. And that's one of the lessons that I think, we all can learn from history. Um, the focus that, like when we talk about how psyop and social engineering works, how you get people distracted, how you trick people into giving us something and you didn't even, you couldn't even catch the play. So they've been doing this to us for a very, very, very long time. Unfortunately, I have to say for most people, it has worked. The way you see even the way in which um the music industry, not just music industry, even sports, we had these Negro leagues. You had the Negro Football League, the Negro Baseball League, Negro Basketball League, and then all this in your quest for quote unquote equality, you give that up, something that you can actually have control of, even in a very real way. Very sophisticated systems around even how you pay artists and how you pay athletes, and how I'm not saying that's where the focus should be. I'm just giving an example. I don't even care about like that type of stuff. I'm just saying when you have control over it, the industry, over your industries, the concept of equality is not even important because you focus on the innovation part, the logistics part, the optimization, the automation, making sure that shit is efficiently running, you know? And that at that point, equality, maybe you have some bylaws within your own organization that stabilizes things, that gives protocols for how shit should be ran. But that's your focus is not on let me go and give up the Negro Baseball League and the Negro Football League and let me go and join the NFL, so, and knowing that these people was still, don't even like you, don't even care about you, and then they make you what they call the $40 million slave, and then bring you into these rituals and bring you into a whole other thing you ain't even asked for. And so that's what they've been doing. And so now when you try to force equality, you put yourself in a position like that where you're giving up your own infrastructure to join someone else's infrastructure who've made it very clear historically that they hate you and do not like you. Where is equality in that? How could you force equality in that? How could you get equality in such a situation, in such a scenario? You're not. Because if they made it clear they didn't like you and they didn't want you in there to begin with, and you come with some nigga, I need to be equal. You need to let me in. It's equality. It's equality. You do have your own Negro baseball league. Matter of fact, let's make an economic play on this. We're gonna bring you in, and we're gonna make sure we own everything. Because you said you wanted to be equal. Well, we're people that is based on warmongering, conquering, and domination. We don't understand certain things. They look at they telling you they the infant race, and you go over there and made it very clear. Clearly, you forgot the conditions in the state in which you found them in Europe. You clearly must have forgot. And you go and you want to be equal. How did you find them? What state and condition did you find them in when you went over to Europe? When you were the Moors, when you went over there, when you saw the lack of corrals, when you saw the lack of civilization, that's what you wanted to be equal to. It's just your equation. I don't care what just because they built up they came over to the new worlds and sell the ocean blue and they built up something really nicely and you got tricked and bamboozled and you might have fell off a couple of centuries, but you forgot how you found them. And so you went back over there and say equal, equal, equal. Okay, you sure about that? So you go from, you know, you go from having 240 cities, having something really nice, like cities, all types of stuff. Yes, these cities were attacked. Yes, they were um, systematically destabilized even by government forces at times. But the process of building and building, even after they come for you, that is what we talk about sovereignty. The quest for sovereignty is more important than the quest for this imaginary equality. Got a dead apple, you got a fresh apple. You know, yeah, you can maybe repurpose something for something better, for something greater, but you have to at that point assess the pros and cons, the productive value of it. What is the outcome, your objective, and your goals? And if you don't do that, then at that point, what are you? You don't even need to be entertaining this idea of making something in an equal state. Now, this is a hard concept to grasp because when you say, "Well, I have one apple, this person has another apple," these apples, one plus one equals two, but here's the thing: even if you have two fresh apples, you have two fresh apples. One could still argue that they're not equal. Those are not equal states. It's two fresh apples. Yeah, it may even look the same, but one is older. One may have had a little insect bite and get a little small infection. It recovered. One could be, the seed. One got seeds. One don't got seeds. One was fertilized with this. One wasn't fertilized with that. And so we're still dealing with this concept in a real way. I don't think people should try to use this to make this you're not this is superior, this is inferior. That's really not what this is about. It's just not. We're just talking about like how certain social engineering words get used to distract people from you fighting for something that's actually not important when you could just be focused on your sovereignty and have and really focus on what you should be, which is your own self. And so that's just an example from like the 1960s, and you apply that for today in 2026. You know, there's this attempt to have this enshrouded taciturn warfare through the war on the minds and the hearts of the people, collective programming, social engineering, but it's done covertly. So people are not above smiling in your face while wanting to take your place. People are not above smiling in your face while undermining you behind your back, backstabbing you, smiling in your face, acting like they don't give you a seat at the table, but really they working behind the scenes to destabilize you. And people are doing that actively to the Negro, or what you could say Black Americans. People are doing that in 2026 on a governmental level, on an infrastructural level, as far as these rogue attempts at a coup of our very way of life. And so we have to not approach the same way because they want us to be all out in the streets on Selma marching. Why you didn't like me? Why you did this? Why you took away this on the books? Why you took that away? And it's like now they want you out there fighting for this imaginary equality when really the focus should be on building up your own parallel infrastructure, your own enterprise architecture, your own communal bases, whether that be at the organizational level, even local communities, on a larger scale. It depends, but those are the things that we want to think about. And when we say like there's really no true equality, think of a degree. Think when we talk about states of conditions, think of a degree. One person has a bachelor's degree, the other person has a master's degree, the other person has a doctor's degree. None of these degrees are inferior or they're superior, but they're degrees of states of condition that assess your knowledge. So someone, let's just think of computer science. So somebody has a bachelor's in computer science. And you have another person that has the master's in computer science. They're not superior to the person that has the bachelor's in computer science, but they have a higher degree, a degree of state of condition. Then you have the person with the PhD. They have a higher degree in computer science than the person with the bachelor's, than a person with the master's. And so it's not about like this, oh, this is the supremacy thing. That's not what I'm saying here. That would be a very childish way to reduce what I'm saying to. Oh, she's trying to say that the supremacy, no. We're talking about degrees of conditions, and we're talking about how this obsession that they brought to our community with this equality stuff hinders us from understanding states of conditions and the focus on what is more important: the sovereignty, the ascendancy, not getting distracted trying to force yourself in other people's stuff and in other people's face and all this stuff. So I think that we pretty much got that now, as far as millennials and even maybe Generation X and whatnot. And I think people can look back and see like what what's the outcome has been since the destabilization of Negroes on their own land and on their own farms. And you see project buildings. You see um, you know having to go to them for everything. Just look at the music industry, the sports, medical, whatever it is. When after Reconstruction period, we had all those things on our own, and it was ran by us. And so that quest for trying to become equal to somebody that you found in a cave has cost you. After you were warned, I don't care how much they shadow ban. I don't care how much you scary. Oh Lord Jesus is a fire type niggas. Oh, she don't get us in trouble. Oh, feet don't fail me now. No, that ain't your spirit. Your spirit has always been power, one of knowing, one of anointing, one of nature, one of sun fire, one of boldness, not fear. And so we could say these things. We have the evidence of these things, and it's no dig at any human. It's not. We're not degrading anybody. But I'm saying, either you civilized Europe for 800 years, or you didn't. Either you found them in the states of conditions in which they were, in which you all read about the plague over there when they had in the medieval ages. We read about how that bubonic plague was, the black plague as they call it, the bubonic plague. I bet you that's a plague. That when they say that black plague, I bet you that's them being funny too. But the black plague, that plague was something else. It was sewage in the streets. It was dead bodies all in the streets. No organization structure. People just praying things away, thinking that it was just death everywhere. They was calling it the black plague, the bubonic plague in the medieval ages. Because people weren't cleaning properly, washing their hands properly, making sure that the infestation and waste management was properly managed. They weren't doing that. People said that the bubonic plague was brought on by rats. We don't know. But what we're saying is that was the conditions that you, whether you want to admit it or not, equation wise, wanted to be equal to. When you fight to go waltz into school, and they throwing eggs at you and spit on you and throwing and saying go home N word and all, and you wanted to walk up in that when you had your own school, amazing teachers. And then you had the sellouts, of course, who broker backdoor deals and back end deals like they do today, like they doing right now. As I talk, as I speak, they're doing it right now, and then trying to trick you into making it seem like they're not. And then want to smear campaign the motherfuckers that's not doing it, and try to project onto them. And so people have to have discernment. Okay. And so just think of that degree that everyone's on a journey, a condition of supposed knowledge. That's what the focus is on, yourself. You're going on a journey. It doesn't mean inferior or superior. Now, if people take it that way or people feel some type of way, that's on them. But we saying like we so beyond, you know, zeros I'm thinking, the race stuff, the gender stuff. It's like I have to like force myself to be like, okay, these are the things that you guys are still focused on. Okay, whatever. Um, it's annoying, but like I get it. Like this is where this world is still, focused on the race paradigm. They haven't evolved past it. They haven't evolved past, the war paradigm and the jealousy paradigm, the crab in the barrel paradigm. And so those are residual energies that those of us of the light have to navigate through and even away from, if possible, quickly. You want to navigate away from people who can't get out of them boxes. They can't get out of that because it's going to drag us down. And they be harvesting energy, and they be wanting the light, and they be, how they already do. You know how they do it, nigga. And so, oh, hey, big time, Ben B. You said Black Wall Street type shit. Yep. Unless you had a national protection. Right, equality with whom I'm not equal. Did you, Lord, you going in? You said, let's see what you say for you. Right. I mean, that's an interesting perspective. And shout out for coming in, big time, Ben Bay. Um, but it's a real thing, and I just noticed like even like the conversation around freedom and what like the obsession with that over discipline and precision. Freedom doesn't really quite get you the organization and structural capabilities of building an empire and civilization, but precision and discipline does. So when the government comes once again with shouted taciturn warfare strategies and of course buying out the fucking sellouts, they're going to say, hey, niggas, focus on freedom, 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 freedom. Eh, freedom for what? The most high? Freedom for what? Saturn? Freedom for what? Mother Earth, planet Earth? Freedom for what? Death? What are you trying to be free from exactly? You have everything God ever gave you. You have fruit trees and all these things. And so freedom, okay, so you get a foreign invader, a foreign person that's messing with you, right? Like how melanated people had colonizers. So maybe you want freedom from the colonizers. So how do you get free from the colonizers? Do you just say more freedom, more freedom, more freedom? Okay, we'll give you more freedom. You are free to destabilize your nuclear family. You're free to abuse each other. You're free to do crack. What are you see what I'm saying? Like you wanted freedom. You wanted freedom from being colonized. You wanted freedom from you. Okay, having much bread and circuit. You have the freedom to make songs degrading each other. You know what I'm saying? So the to get free from a colonizer, follow me here. To get free from a colonizer, you would have to have discipline and precision to build your own empire. Now, when we say discipline, it could be at a personal level, obviously, but when we talk about the collective level is your organizational structural building at the very small level all the way up to the big levels, repurposing institutions that you have from a very strategic point of view, letting it be known that's what it is, and then, if possible, even building new ones. But that's the only way you would get free from a colonizer, if that's really what you guys actually wanted. Um, you would do that through discipline and precision. You wouldn't do that through asking for freedom. Because if you're asking your colonizer for freedom, and they say, okay, uh, you're free. You're free to do whatever you want. And how do we know that? Did they not give you a benign neglect policy? Just let them do whatever they want. Benign neglect. Benign neglect means you're free to do what you want. That's your freedom. Benign neglect. You said you wanted freedom. It's the equation. Now, benign neglect means if you develop on your own precision and discipline to build your own stuff, no one can stop you. But if you decide to self destruct and do crack and knock each other upside the head, No one can stop you when you benign neglect someone. You don't pay attention to them. You're indifferent towards them. And so that policy, inevitably, when you think about it at a very raw sense, is dualistic. You can do either way. You niggas could have, I mean, you was getting, if you're talking about benign neglect policy of even the left, I mean, they were getting housing, all these other things. Maybe they weren't doing anything for you because they were benign neglect. But that means either way you go, your fate is still in your own hands. Now, whether you were traumatized too much and couldn't realize that, it happens to the best of us. I'm not here to denigrate myself or anyone. Um, whether you were too traumatized to realize that as a people because of we didn't necessarily have the tools to put ourselves back together, and our leaders kept selling out, and you kept saying you didn't want to. Everybody wanted to be a chief and not an Indian. Everybody wanted to step up and knock out they got jealous. They were jealous of Malcolm X, jealous of Khalid Muhammad, jealousy shit got in the way. Fred Hampton, you knock out somebody because you want to be like them, and you're not qualified for a tenth of what the fuck they can do or what they do or how God chose them for the position of what they are in. You want to compete with them, you can't compete. You know, stupid shit. And so whether we were collectively so traumatized, and then you got this group of people with their own personal agendas as to how they were going to survive, that benign neglect policy essentially allows you to either use precision and discipline to build your own empire and civilization, which is honestly what the Jacobians were hoping niggas would do, and to no avail. A lot of them are dead. A lot of us is down bad, because we've it's been 1,200 years of it's been 1,200 years of us knowing some things of what, as far as the spiritual warfare that has been plagued on certain bloodlines. I'll say that. Okay, spiritual warfare. Um, and so, trying to rally up, okay, guys, let's do it this way. You're not going to get the mic. You're not going to get the, influence because, them people going to come, them white folks going to come and say, look, don't talk like that. Talk, bring this agenda to them. Get them distracted on this. Not precision and discipline. Get them focused on freedom. Get them focused on freedom for the Black woman. Okay, because we don't like her. And so I'm being facetious. But that's the type of thing you see. You see they wanted the freedom, and they ran to the music industries and all these other industries and acted a plum fool. Freedoms to do the freaky body. Ooh, anything we want to do. Anything we want to do. We do, yeah, freak off, yeah. You get up there and you with the white folks, and then Diageo comes, um, and then that was your freedom. And then when you tried to be equal, dun, 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 because it was their system and it wasn't your own, so they could change at will and do these things. And this is what we talk about. Well, hey, and all they're gonna say to you, well, we gave you a benign neglect policy. Ain't most of y'all Democrats? You having the benign neglect. That means you can actually, it's duality. You can do whatever you want. So that means if you collectively wanted to build something on your own, and again, when those people made that deal in the 60s, I was born in the 90s. I had nothing to do with this shit. But I'm just saying, when them people was born in the 60s and that group realized, okay, them niggas is going to sell them out, they had to go and broker things, even when they didn't want to be involved in it. They're like, look, okay, yeah, you're giving them benign neglect policy, but we want to make it very clear that safety net for them, they have to have a safety net, and they have to be able to build it if they want to. Build, go the precision discipline way and build up if they want to and when they want to. And it's like, okay, fine. But once again, you're dealing with a trickster. You're dealing with technology. And so with the trickster spirit, they come and say, yeah, precision and discipline and benign neglect, technically you can do that. But we have psychological, no touch psych warfare, and we have paid off a lot of niggas, and we told them that they, we're gonna infiltrate music and whatever the music is, whatever, we're gonna bring some drugs. You have a choice. Benign neglect. You could say no. When we bring them drugs in, when the government bring drugs into the black community during the crack era, they could say no. You did it. You had a choice. Could have said no, but you said yes. You decided to sell crack to your own mama. You did. It's benign neglect. You had the choice to go to freedom. You wanted the freedom, or did you want precision and discipline to build your own empire and civilization? And so, when they came to you, they offered you the money. I'm not saying you were listening. I'm just saying it hypothetically. Obviously, all of us, we too young. We weren't even born during this time. But a lot of us weren't even born. But I'm saying went and they offered the money, 500,000, a million. You're gonna do this and do it, bring this into your community. You could have said no, but you didn't. And then they say, well, they would have put me on a list and made my life really, really difficult. Can they put all of you on the list? If you're doing precision and discipline and building your own empire, they could put all of you on a list. They could stabilize all of you. But you have land and you have food, and this is the 60s. Yeah, you think you could convince the Most High of that? That makes sense? And you have farms, and you have all black communities, and you guys are looking out for each other? Hmm? You think you convince the Most High? That makes sense? So, there has to be some sort of cathartic introspection here. Some of us are not to blame for none of this, right? What I find fascinating and also to an extent quite pathetic is that, like, I'm listening, I'm listening to this and I wasn't listening, but like I'm just as a GIA, we see this group of they weren't millennials or Gen Zs or it was a Generation Z and then Generation Alpha, right? It was probably nobody under 45. And they talking about, but back in the 90s, we did this. We were so close together. We looked out. We were so good. We were outside. We were look out for each other's kids. We would do so. Y'all go like, and they eating it up. It's just emotional feel good. Everybody's about emotional feel good. Like, better take your ass motherfucking church or something. They want to sit up under this dude is like literally like a pastor just telling them, remember the days when, we did this and black women did this and black men did this. And it's the same nigga. I'm like, nigga, you the reason why you've been around for 30, 35 years. You part of the reason why the community in the condition that it's in. I think it's mighty offensive if you sit your ass and talk about, well, we were in the 90s, we did this. But you singly had a hand in gripping your own community, stealing from your own community and selling it out. So yeah, you did it. Yeah, we did have all that in the 90s. What the fuck we got now though? It's 2026. I'm about to sit and reminisce about what we did in the motherfucking 90s. I mean, women can do that for a little bit, but I'm about to sit and listen to no man talk about what we did in the 90s, and I'll see that same man have had a hand in selling us out. Now, just because you can't detect taciturn and shrouded warfare of motherfuckers and how they move and how backdoor deals is made and how these networks and these secret societies and these brotherhoods move, that ain't that what the fuck they got to do with us? But we telling you don't listen, and then we saying, okay, clearly this is a distraction. Yeah, I know what we did in the 90s. I was born in 1992. Yeah, I know I rode my bike. I shook my ass. I did the bingo. I played Old Maid. We did red light, green light. What time is it, Mr. Fox? 2 o'clock. What? Two. What time is it, Mr. Fox? Time to eat you. And you run like heck to the back to run away. We played all these games as kids. Yeah, we know we did double dutch with Twizzlers competition, dance competition. Yeah, we know we had a ball, we grilled, we had the cookouts, we went to the parks and shit, and an amusement park. Yeah, we know what we did in the 90s. We had a ball, we had fun, you know. But how do we? I don't want to sit and be sitting in it like that's like, oh yeah, we did this, and I'm about to listen to I'm like, dude, you sold us out. Like, I'm about to listen to you tell us. Yeah, I know what we doing now in 2026. Are we building up the precision and discipline frameworks, governance structure, our own civilization, our own empire? Are we doing that now? Are we rebuilding even okay, maybe a new empire is too vast for our vision, not mine, but let's say it is. Okay, what we doing for our community right now, as far as these high societies, because we aren't doing no cults, no mind control ass cults and secret societies where don't say this, don't think that, and hazing motherfuckers and trying to control and grift motherfuckers. We ain't doing that shit. So even on a local level, if we wanted to do organizational structure, where are we doing that today? Where's the cookout today? Where's the tent revival today for niggas? Based on one organizational structure that can be reiterated from zone to zone, district to district, from and scaled from small to big, which we built that out. That's what the Knock the Order Governance, the 369 Nikola Tesla framework is, with the Admiral branch, the upper house, and the black house. That's what the councils are. The Council of Formidable Men, the Council of Queen Mothers, the Council of the Elders, and the Council of Children. And remember, the Council of Elders, there is an equal number of men and women on the Council of Elders. And then within that, you have your Admiral branch, which is your executive level, your chief and your Queen Mother. You have an election for that. That's temporary though, because if we optimize and automate properly as far as the efficiencies within the system itself, within 50 years, you won't even need that. Probably less than that. Probably would need about a good 20 years to get the engine really going. And then you won't even need probably the Admiral branch unless you just wanted to have it for, that's kind of like how the monarchy was, just it wasn't really running nothing. It was just there, and then you have your upper house, which is your regional level, like kind of like a state. And then you have your black house, which is your local level, which is like your city, and then you have your city commanders over your city. And then you have your state commanders, which is over your regional area. All this stuff we came up with to knock the order. It's freely available. And then if you want the more detailed blueprint, it's in the book. And then we had the enterprise architecture, which was a whole system of how do you deal with your education, your spirituality, your technology, your invention. How do you deal with that? All of that's been crafted out. That's like 4 years old now. So all that's been freely available. And so I don't want to hear about no sitting in no 90s. Yeah, we did this, and oh man, we are integrated now. We don't have nothing. Oh, we gave up. We don't have, look at Tulsa. Look what they did to Tulsa. Niggas, y'all allowed it. My thing is, these men, like, it's like y'all said, and like, I'm not trying to play a blame game because we have to evolve past that too. It's enough blame to go around for everybody. We have to evolve past that. But build it again. And this is the difference between freedom and precision and discipline. Precision and discipline, once you build up your shit, once you build up your own parallel infrastructure, once you build up your own empire or your own community, then you'll have the freedom that you're seeking. But you ain't gonna go to no colonizer and tell them, give us free. Give us free. Give us free. Like Amistad. I don't know if you guys remember the movie Amistad. He knows Amistad, right? With that fine ass black chocolate dude. What was his name? That it's a black ass African that was in there that was fine as hell. And the one that was with Kamora Lee, he said, "Give us free. Give us free." You can't go to them same people because they already see you as an enemy. They see you as a war. They see you as property. Give us free. Give you freedom. You free. Y'all free to knock each other upside the head. You're free to this. And you're free to sell out because we about to offer some of your top dogs a bag to see if they could destabilize your community even more. You said you wanted freedom. We gave you the benign neglect. That's what they gonna say. Then you got the Jacobians, the very few less of us niggas left, saying, "Hey guys, I think we should just build our own stuff. I don't think we should go that route. I think we need to just do, our own sovereignty. I think we need to do precision and discipline and just build our own shit. Let's just go our own way. Let's just do, what Sun Ra was doing. Sun Ra was really bringing that heat, and he said they all neglected. I was trying to tell them we got to go a separate way. We got to do something different. We can't be up. Get out of here. If we, and then we the ones that get systematically buried. Unfortunately, because of that route. However, what we're saying is the crux of the basis of any society. And what's unfortunate in an overall, in a real way, is that what ends up happening is they had to pay you to lose. That's what they had to do when it comes to the sellouts and all that. They had to pay them to lose in order to compete with you, in order to block you. Because what was the state and condition that you found them in when you first civilized them? Have you ever thought about that? When you in your quest for equality, and you know the conditions that you found them in. And I'm speaking in code. For those who know, you better know your history, you better study your history. And you know the conditions that you found them in, and you want it, they end up you end up losing a war against them. They end up enslaving you. Okay. You end up getting out of enslavement. But you never addressed and you never remembered their natural state and where you found them. I don't care if they had the 100 a year advance over you or you lost something against them and they was over you. You found them in a certain state and you gave them everything, and everything that they had was because of you. So why you want to be equal? Hmm? So then when they tell you, yeah, we'll give you benign neglect, yeah, we'll give you freedom, then they come and turn around and have to pay you to lose. Pay you to lose. That's what they've been doing with the sellouts. I'm not saying you who's listening, so forgive me if it's come off like accusatory or like, damn, you talking to me? No, 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 no. I'm not talking to you. They have to pay them to lose in order to compete with you or just block you like how they do the real niggas or kill you. Um, and I'll give you an example. Paying you to lose, humiliation rituals. They had to pay you to lose, to augment your behavior, rooted in knowing that they want something from you that they don't deserve or can't afford. So they have to devalue. They have to devalue you to get it, right? And so even when you want to look, if you wanted to bring in the race thing, I mean, you have to. I mean, come on, you have to study the historical evidence. If you even if they wanted to say, okay, this group is inferior, this group is superior, well, you will have to argue that there is much more historical evidence that proves the opposite. You would have the historical evidence that backs that up or doesn't back it up. I'm not getting into the weeds of that. I could break, come on now. We ain't going. That's a waste of time to try. I mean, because there's just so much evidence in our favor. I don't. I wouldn't have it. I could do it, but then somebody would have to pay me to do that. Is what I'm saying. I'm not about to sit up here and go through. I think I already covered 100,000 years of history on my old channel of melanated history, and that was just in the East. That's not to mention the Black American inventions. And there was a formula for inventing, believe it or not, that we taught you guys that you might have forgot it. Um, I still have that formula. I'm not giving that formula out online. You do start the kids young. There was a method as to why the Negro came up with 40,000 inventions in less than 100 years from 1870 to 1940. Patent control numbers all documented. I have the patent and control numbers. You can look them up. There's books on it with the patent control numbers of these inventions and the inventors and what date and year and what type of patents there was. 50,000 inventions. And that's just what's on the books, what wasn't stolen. What we're saying is there was a very specific formula that we were teaching Negro children on how to do that, whether it be on the land, in the backwoods, in the juke joint, in the black church. Because we're about to talk, because I'm a military scientist and we really got to deal with strategy here and repurposing infrastructures that are cultural and traditional and where the people are at. Okay. We may be advanced or we feel like we know something, quote unquote, and want to look down on what we feel may be antiquated thoughts or childish thoughts or whatever, or beliefs or whatever. But you have to meet people where they at, and you have to root it in what cultural tradition you come from and evolve it, most importantly. But yes, especially during black schools and your teaching and all this stuff, and that would really be something I would love to do, is to teach some of these children that method of inventing. And I'm going to show you it works. I'll show you the evidence that it works. um I'll give you an example. I'll literally show you. We'll do that now. Actually, there's no point of hold it. I was going to show that at the end. So let me a couple of weeks ago, I had gave out like an invention about hair. I gave out an invention about hair, how to come up with a nature based hair weave, and this was just something we did on the dome. Like this was like so novel. What's it called? So trivial. It wasn't like anything serious. But I just want to give you an example of what we mean by like the inventing process, what that looks like. Now we're not giving out the formula for invention. So don't think we're giving out the formula for invention, but I just want to show you just a small example of how it works. Okay, just a very small example. So, and we're on Rumble. Let me share on Rumble. Let me share screen on Rumble. So equality. Okay, let's go here. Hey, let's go here. Share that. And then I want to show you guys the videos in which we gave out the inventions just for documentation purposes. So in this video, we started to give out the machinations, and even you can see it where it says free invention, including I have no interest or time to invent it. So a black youth can tweak it to make it patentable, very rough draft. And so pretty much I just was like, okay, you guys love this hair stuff. You guys are complaining that there was 900 chemicals in the hair weave that's causing alopecia, that's causing edges breaking off, that's causing hair falling out and all types of shit, allergic reactions. I saw it myself. I have witnessed it in my community myself. And so um in this video, I was like, I gave out the formula. I was like, well, you guys use a nature-based plant, acacia wood, plantain, something where it could be nature based, but I said you guys would have to find the chemical to alter the state to actually make it like a strand, like a hair, like for a hair weave, you know. And I did ask for Black youth to patent that so that they could have had control over the hair market. This is something we could have did in the 80s. This is something we could have did in the 70s that would have essentially allowed us control over hair markets because we spent $8 billion a year on hair. And then also control over what is going on the head as far as making sure the chemicals is natural, is is like something that's not going to aggravate the scalp, that's not going to cause allergic reaction. And so this was like it says free invention included. So I just gave it out, just threw the idea out, very rough draft. But then I solidified the idea by being able to find the chemical for niggas to use, and that was in this video. We gave out like the certain eco-based resins, like sustainable resins, something that wasn't poisonous to the earth and poisonous to the hair, to be able to alter the plantain or the acacia wood, to alter it into making it a hair weave, natural hair weave. But I had asked that, you make it like a texture of Afro, the wave, how black hair is, pretty much the texture of black hair. So there's various textures of black hair. You got, different type of curl pattern and wave, really coily curl, looser curl, tighter curl, whatever what they call it, yaki. Remember they had the yaki where that type of look, the yaki look where it's like a blow dry out, like a dry, like, what's it called, blowout, that type of look. So I wanted a youth to come up with a natural hair weave for black women's, because black women's love this weave stuff, and I'm not judging it. I'm just saying, I got my natural hair right now. I got an afro in my hair right now. I literally have an afro in my hair right now. It's just wild. But I don't knock, some of the ladies, they like to have, they like the enhancements or whatever. And I'm not here to judge that. That's their thing, and I like to wear, a piece or two sometimes, when I want to spice it up and do something dramatic and avant-garde and have it I love avant-garde look, and I don't mind having a piece or whatever, but I don't need it. And I don't feel that I need it. I don't feel that I need hair weave. And that's really what we want Black women to get to that stage where, yeah, it's nice to just dress it up and do eccentric styles and expression, but we don't need it. If you like it, fine. but we don't need it, and we shouldn't feel that we need it if our world crumbles if we gotta go outside with an afro in our head. Like we don't want to be that. If you want to do some straight backs, like they had motherfuckers the straight backs back in the day. The different types of they had the Queen Latifah set it off type braids. Remember how Nina Simone used to wear her hair out? If you look at pictures of Nina Simone, actually let's do it. Let's do it. Why not? Because I want to show you the different avant-garde looks, and then her natural hairs are natural beauty. She did both ways. It's not one or the other. We're not here to mind control motherfuckers. Okay, if you don't do it my way, you're gonna you're gonna pay. You better not discuss. No, that's not how you do. That's not how you run. That's not how you treat people. Let me just make sure the sound is good. Okay, and so you see Nina Simone here, afro hair right now, right? Wig. Didn't want to do something a little different. You didn't want to. She didn't want to damage her real hair. Look at this, avant-garde. Boom, avant-garde, like a mother. That's dope. That's more my style. That's more my style. Okay, afro. Okay, let's see. Real avant-garde. Okay. So she switched it up, but she didn't feel like, oh, I need to have this hair weave in my head. No, she wanted it, she rocked it. When she didn't want it, she didn't wear it. Oh, look at this one. That's really cool. You see that? See, I like that type of stuff too. So she had it, and you see that? And she just doing her thing. Okay. Afro, short afro. It's just hair. It's the natural hair that grow off her body. Nothing wrong with it. But when she want to switch it up, she do her thing. Okay. And so that's what it's about. It ain't about like, oh, the natural versus the hair. You see, she's very much have natural hair. But you also see sometimes where she wanted it like let's see. She didn't really wear. Oh, look at this one. See how they straight backs? What's that style called? That's not the straight backs. That's just braids, some cool braids. See this one? Just some cool braids. It ain't all this. Oh my gosh, I got a 30-inch bundle Malaysian. If you want that, look, we got to meet people where they at. That's where people at, whatever. But I'm just saying. But you see how she just, and this was the high priestess of soul, an amazing, gifted person to share her gift with the world through song. Okay, had her issues, wasn't perfect, like nobody isn't. But you see that. So she went out, took a picture. But also felt comfortable. Sometimes with something with what's that? I'm trying to put that picture with that wig again. Oh, to see like this with the finger waves. And so it just depends on what day that you feel like what you want to do, what day you feel like doing something. Okay, the phase you in. But I was asking niggas to come up with that because again, you let other people in your community control, excuse me, the market, the industries, and then you don't have um the money is not being circulated back into community when it's something that's really simple that could be resolved. So we'll go back here in this video. We talked about the pathways in business economy sessions, but at the end of this video we went deep into giving out more information about the invention I was asking the youth to come up with. As far as this hair invention, I said, well, you guys can use a plantain, you guys can use eco resins. I was giving like the different um, types of resins and chemical compositions to alter, say, acacia wood or a plantain. So I said, here I give you part two of the invention. Go and get it patented or show me something. And what's amazing is, let's go here, back here. Somebody did that. So what I want to do is show you this though, because this is pretty let's see, is that the one? Because I know the shade room. I will go here first. The Shade Room did an expose of what's in your weave, and they found 900 chemicals found in hair extensions from the top brand. And so they claim that they were investigating. Now, I don't know much about the Shade Room. I'm not gonna hold you. I haven't watched stuff like the blog. You know how like World Star Hip Hop, Shade Room, Media Takeout. I was in high school when World Star Hip Hop was popping, and Media Takeouts. I haven't watched them since I haven't watched Worst of Hip Hop since high school. But with the Shade Room, I never really. I have to say I don't know much about them. But I thought this was a fascinating, you know, investigation. 900 chemicals was found in a hair weave extension, and so I said, "Well, damn, this was March 8th, right? That video that I gave y'all, the first one, the first one. Let's look at the date." Because I just want you to guys to follow the stream of thought of how of the process of this and how much money is being wasted from the devaluing, the degradation of Black women and me in particular, but just in general and the way this community moves. I want you guys to see something here because this is what's slowing us down because we have too many fucking sellouts in this community and this is what's really messing us up. Look at this. November 14th, 2025 is when this with this stuff where it says free invention included. Have no interest and could tweak it and make it very patentable, right? Shade Room does their posts on March 8th about the 900 chemicals in the hair weave. But look at this. Some random melanated person, and we was hoping that a Negro in Black America would do this. Um, he decided to come up with what how it could look like if it's that he used a plantain. Now I want to show you this because this he says, this video was I want to say about like 2 weeks ago or whatever of him making this the plantain. Now I want to say how do I find I'm trying to look where I would find when a video was posted so you guys can see it. So trying to find that real quick. Where can we find description maybe? Yeah, description. So that was February 26th when you see this published, right? I just want to make sure that it's on my screen. That was February 26th when they made that, as you can see. Now, you see, my video was in November about giving out the invention with the plantains, and then the other one was about like a month ago with giving out the chemical and resins to use. He used this right here that he's using to make this hair weave. He said, I made a $500 bone straight hair wig from plantain, bone straight hair. 5 million views. Okay. Let's play it because this is what we talk about. Like, there's a formula for this. Like, these type of inventions, and this is nothing. Like, I have an invention book. Like, this is why I gave this out on the internet publicly because it's like it doesn't mean like how do I say this? It's I don't have the time to do that myself. I don't care to, but it's a good idea. And so I said, well, just throw it out there for free, in the public. But when I say like that process can be reiterated amongst Black children. And we're talking about they can have books filled with these type of ideas. We talk about that run in the trillions of dollars. And on top of that, I have my own book that is all coded and all scribble dibble to the outsider with all types of inventions and more serious level though, for procurement of certain things like your irrigation, your water, your housing, your certain energy, renewable energies and stuff like that stuff. I'm not going to obviously give out on the internet. I'm not going to go and say, hey guys, no, that's going to be behind the scenes. That has to be offline. If we ever get to it, I'm not here to give my intellectual property to this beast system. It's not smart, I would say, to try to make. I think eventually, but I don't trust this system. They stole that AI aggregation invention from me from 2018 with the AI stuff or repository intelligence rather. Um, and so like I don't trust to like go through the patent process or like even like how they have like the National Science Foundation and you give you help the government innovate and all that. Like, I don't trust at this time to share those inventions publicly, even online or offline with anyone, unless they were in the Nocti order as a card carrying member, okay? And they were a CAD designer or a graphic designer or someone that understood patents or someone who understood how to create prototypes, then I could entertain it. And then I would be even very strategic with that. But the point is, this process, as far as the formula to teach even Black kids how to invent, that starts as a kid. You have to train their mind a certain way. And there's activities that you have to tell them to do in order to come up with that level. It's something that is in the DNA, of course, but what I'm saying is it came from your chieftains teaching the formula hundreds and hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago as well. But even on the plantations in 1600s or on your own land, where niggas was, okay, you're in North Carolina, you got land, I got, your family got land, we family got land, and you might have a seraph being a chieftain over you that you didn't know, and they were teaching you, go invent this, go, and especially with the children. How do I know? Because I've seen the Akashic record of it being done. I've seen a Akashic record of it being done that's showing niggas, this is how you do this, this is how you do that, this is what we do, this is how we do, and do this, and put this right here, and do it. And then now you got a nice little invention. Now you have all these inventions everywhere. And that's literally how it happened. We talk about the cotton gin and the cotton, was a cotton press, the irrigation inventions. And there's video footage of this stuff. So now let me show you this video of this dude making this plantain thing. Now, you see where the idea came from, you know. If you see the dates, it's not about, I'm not trying to like, you owe me for, no, it's not about that. I gave it out freely. I wanted it out there, and I was hoping that a Black American would take it upon and do the, make this, and I think they still can, because they could probably come up with a different formula that is a lot more easier. But I just want you to see how this looks when it's, as far as this dude making a hair wig out of plantain and the chemical alters that he do to make it a wig. This is a real live. Somebody is asking, is this a real? I'm live. Abdo is asking, am I live? I want y'all to look at the video though. It's streamed on Rumble though, but also they that it's a secret society um that stream my stuff underground and don't and be stalking and watching my stuff, but then they don't want me to know. So they don't want me to get no views or not. They don't want the views. So YouTube like remove views and stuff. But like they'll stream. You probably may see this stream probably on the dark web or something right now with their little clique that be watching and acting like they don't. So you see this? He made a hair weave. He dyed it black. The only thing I wanted him to do is make it like a kinky one. But they got the white women's like to wear that type of hair. That's the Asian look, because that's the texture of Asian hair. So that, so you see what I'm saying? Let's do it again. Let's watch it again. Plantains. And the evidence is there. I said, yo, go get them plantain. Like I told him, I said, y'all was worried about all this hair weave stuff. Go get a plantain. Go get some eco resin and alter the chemical and dye it and make it kinky. He made it straight. He made his bone straight. But I told y'all, and you see, he just put this up February 23rd. And so this is what we're talking about. When we want to teach our people, this is what Not the University is about. And that was just, we gave it an idea. Now, I'm not going to hold you. Even back in the 1600s, 1700s, we was expecting, just like I'm sitting on my ass now telling y'all, delegating, that's just how we've always been. Seraph beings that are females. Seraph beings that are females. Angels that are, let me get out of quantum entanglement. For those of us queen mothers, let me just sound more, in the physical. For queen mothers, it was always like that, but the ideas work. And the point is like these ideas work, guys. Just like how you saw Nvidia jump on the GPU integration with AI, using the GPUs and the chips for the AI integration. That idea came from my capstone at Columbia University. The ideas work is the point. Now, may the idea be executed properly? And do we agree with the direction in which they took the technology? No. But what we're saying is the idea works. Like even with this, the idea works. Now, do I like that the hair is bone straight? Not quite. I would like for it to look like Negro hair. Negroes got afros, deep wave, deepy wave. What's it called? Water wave, body wave, kinky afro. Oh, I don't like the word kinky, but yaki afro, blowouts. But you see it, and you know where the idea came from. I mean, I could. I don't know what more I would need to do. I actually have to play the video. I actually like played a video of me saying, "Hey guys, go and get this and go and get that," which I can do. Matter of fact, let's do it because I know people say you didn't say that. You just because they always like to that they got this huge the government. I mean, they got a bug in their ass about me. So let's actually just play it. Shit, shit, fuck it. No, it's towards the end. I'm trying to look for the point. Where did I even talk about that hair? I'm trying to look where I talk about the hair week. Dang, where do I? What I? Trying to so these videos be too long. This is 4 hours and 30 minutes. Well, it's in this video. You see it says free invention included. It is in this video, but I do know the timestamp of where it is in the other video that I used that I made. And so we can probably just go to that one. Yeah, let's just go to that one. And then so this is what I would like to do going forward. I need to put timestamps of certain things that I be talking about. Like when I switch from this to that, I need to be able to like find it easily. And it should have been something on here on YouTube where I thought I don't think it would be that far back. Why would I? Nonetheless, I don't have the patience. I don't have the patience today for to be looking around where I know it's at the towards the end of this particular video, and this is 3 hours long as far as giving out the specific the specific chemical to use as well as covering the plantains to make this hair weave. Okay. And so somebody is working on it already. But what we're saying is this was invention. It's I said for Negroes, I told Negroes to get on it. And this he's not a Negro, he's a melanated, but he decided to go and put that up there. But this is just an example of showing like the idea can work. That's the point you need to take from this is the ideas can work. And what I'm saying is for a long time, when we're teaching this invention formula, when you're teaching an invention formula, it's often it's the exercises that you make the kids do, and then it's the encouragement for them to go and find the materials to do it themselves. Typically, And sometimes just through creative hunches, a chieftain will say, "Hey, you guys can make you go. I want you guys to go and invent this, go and invent that," and that would also be done. But go figure it out. You may get a couple of clues. Use That's why I say use acacia wood, use plantain, and then go and get um eco resins, and then you can and make this hair weave and then get a patent on it, and then that's how you start to build up the just a small little industry of hair for a product that is pervasive in the black community. And what I was saying is that this is something that we could have been doing in the 80s, 70s, when we saw infiltrations of others in the hair market, knowing that black people, in this hair stuff. And so that was just an example. The idea works. And then the formula for creation of inventions work. I'm not, like I said, we're not teaching that online. We want to teach that offline to children. That would be, the ideal scenario. And then encourage them once we assess, there is a mechanism into, believe it or not, getting the focus of a community to make one particular invention come to pass. We do that through a series of organization. And it's like literally a formula. Like when I say I got it in my head, like, okay, after we make the Negro children do the activities to get these inventions, then there's the formula to decide, what is the one that is most critical, what is most needed, and how do we um equitably, or like, it's not so much consensus, but how do we get, our communities to actually make sure that the best one of these inventions come to pass. And it's not a zero sum game. This is not like we're making them compete, because that ruins and stifles ingenuity. Competition of that nature, where you're looking to compare, that's why they say comparison is the thiever of joy, the thief of joy. I said the thiever. They say comparison is the thief of joy. So we're not teaching comparison. This is coming from the 125D science, and it's also remnants of what we I gotta like speak like, like, because we're on planet Earth, and we're in America, we have to bring it down, to Earth. But this is also what was at one point our ancestors. There we go. At one point, and we are our ancestors. At one point, our ancestors um taught, that same formula to Negro children to come up with so many cool technologies, ancestral inventions, so many things, that you wouldn't believe. Um, and so that's also a real thing. And so, we want to bring back those days, and we want to create that environment in which we can teach Negro children those type of formulas, or just American children, these formulas, to get them inventing innovation, all that little tech stuff that, they want to bring in all the H1Bs, what's it called, the H1Bs, and bring in all the, the brain drain type thing, and then the Americans, rely on other people to invent their things for them, and then when it's time for us to invent, you don't know what the fuck to do. That could have been avoided, okay, and it can still be avoided, okay, but you can't degrade and devalue innovative minds and ingenious minds. And unfortunately, that's what this country does. To many people have had powerful IP stolen from them. They have faced a lot of degradation, even though they were musical geniuses, literal geniuses, scientific geniuses, whatever. So many people have had to deal with that. The constant devaluation and jealousy that people have of the light and of the chosen ones. And so, it gets annoying. It gets annoying, but we deal with it. We still are the light. We 22D in this bitch. So it's like, anybody know the Atlanteans? Like, that's why our asses is down here. That's why you gotta say, get y'all motherfucking go. Y'all arrogant. Go learn some soul evolution and duality and consciousness, and come back up to form. of the five through the five senses, through the duality and taxonomies, through the emanations, and get some damn enlightenment. It's not a punishment. You're just getting some enlightenment, getting some humility. No, let's not say humility, say humbleness, because they would say humility, you think of your humiliation rituals. Getting some humbleness. And then working back up through the five sense, and then through emanations and through well, let's go. The parasympathetic body, the electromagnetic body, the mental self, the mental, and then the wisdom, and then the emanations, which is where you have start to develop awareness of self, and then transcendence back up to God consciousness or bliss consciousness. There's a process of that, because if you're in bliss consciousness and God tells you, give you Eden, and you can do whatever you want, however you want, and you feel no other frequencies outside of bliss. And then you don't evolve consciousness that way necessarily, or experience or awareness that way. And so you venture out through different frequencies and dimensions and emanations, all the way down to dense frequencies, um, where there's contrast, where there's gender, where there's duality, you know, um, heavy stuff, where you're in the flesh, physical flesh, incarnated, right? From the soul into the incarnation, getting your experience, getting your mysteries, learning, and going back. And unfortunately, there's a lot of hoodwinking traps on your planet, so you have to be very careful. It ain't like I was back in the day. It ain't like I was back in the motherfucking day, because somebody done hijacked the algorithm computational of this particular planet and coded it with all types of stuff for mind control and trafficking and all types of things. And so you don't get to get you can, because we create our reality. Like, we can still do what we have to do, but what we're saying is the the it's to me, it seems rigged. And while that cannot be an excuse for us being in control of our enlightenment and of our ascension process or descension process, wherever you at on a drawing board with that, um there's a lot of dissatisfaction. Like, there's a lot of unnecessary stuff on this planet, regardless of whether people want to admit that or not. There's a lot of unnecessary pain, a lot of unnecessary poverty. There's a lot of unnecessary, there's things that's like, okay, well, where is the innovation? Where is you're stifling it, you're stealing it. You can't get to a golden age unless you have a golden frequency. And so what is the frequency of gold? Certainly not stealing, killing, and robbing and warmongering. It's not the frequency of gold. That's not the frequency of 528. That's not the frequency of peace, which is 432. That if you're murdering someone and warring with people and killing, that frequency is considerably low, maybe up to 20 hertz, if that. It's a very low frequency. And so there's no way even if you steal inventions, you steal tech, you copy some, you never will get to a golden age with that type of frequency. It's an aggravated clash. And then God certainly doesn't allow Atlantean science, 22D science, 125D science, and blueprints of angels and of melanated Negroes to be usurped by groups of people, regimes, governments that are warmongering and that do not have the frequency of gold on the inside to create this quote unquote golden age. Yeah, it doesn't quite work that way. And so, let me refresh. Yeah, but yeah, honey, this Abdul, this one first time seeing you, not quite familiar with. This is a real live. He said, is it originally being streamed elsewhere? I mean, it's on Rumble, but this is live. This is live. I do all my stuff live. I know I'm a smooth. You have to actually, we be talking about the gossip slop, the gossip content slop, the that's worse than AI slop. Like, everybody covering the same topic or the same shit, ain't saying nothing new. Everybody, oh, Did you hear what so and so said about so and so's BBL? Did you hear what they exposing so and so? Oh, he exposed. Oh, she's exposed. Like everybody do the same shit. That ain't content. Oh man, that's what we talking about. That's that gossip slop. That's where the content creators go, or they're reacting to another reaction. Somebody else reacting. I don't do that over here. Like we have real content. Like yeah, you guys know about shadow banning and stuff like that. Whatever. Um, but yeah, like I will get with you. I will get with you. I can teach for 7 hours straight from on scholarly sources, all types of stuff. I've done it. The evidence is on this channel. 10 hours straight, and I can't do that shit no more because that's too much for me. That is too much right now for me. But when I be on one and then all out there and quantum integrity and just want to teach and just get my rocks off, oh yeah, I get with your motherfucking ass. I get with you for you can't out teach me. You know, um, and so in the content, we got content for days. I'm backed up. I'm backed up. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like when I say as far as topics and things we want to talk about, like stuff that's literally planned out word for word, not word for word, but note for note rather. I don't mean word for word, but how you just do bullet points of what you want to cover in a video. We backed up about 2 years. 2 years because I was supposed to get a lot of that stuff off in 2020, 2021, 2022. It didn't quite, so that content probably won't even cover because it's dated. You know what I mean? It's like it's stuff that I was gonna cover in 2022 and shit. But in 2026, we still backed up about a year, as far as like shit from 2024, 2025, we still got to get to drawn out stuff. That's very good content that's meant to elevate, teach, entertain. Yeah, I cover current events and shit. I do a little gossip, razzle dazzle here and there. Hell yeah. But I don't, my whole channel cannot be dedicated to that. I cannot be focused on I would be in the algorithm. I probably, could get in the algorithm, if I would. To about Corey Holcomb and that weird that was some weird shit. Don't get me wrong, I know what's going on. Oh, my ear is very my ears are very tuned in to what's going on in as far as what Negroes are focused on. And I'm a little disappointed because you guys are focused on the idolization and gossiping and some exposing and some shit that ain't got nothing to do with no discipline and precision, community, but nothing on no real shit or relationship. What else y'all focus on? Relationships. What else y'all focus on? The black woman did this. Oh, the black man he's doing that. Oh, the black, and and some stuff about some racism, and I can't say that it does not matter because it does matter to an extent. What I'm saying is an oversaturation of just all that damn gossip. Oof. And then people is acting like that's content and talent. Y'all wouldn't have made it in our day. I'll be like, man, y'all wouldn't have made it in our day because that is not that is not good. That's not talent. That's not content. You see some bullshit like that, and I'll be like, man, whatever. But that's how it go. That's what they promote. That's what this system. I tell y'all, it's a satanic system. I ain't gonna stop saying it because I'm like, it's every day. It's a backwards system. It's backwards. It's backwards. It really is. So all the gossip is so and so did this. Someone, but you have to understand is somebody is paying them people. It's like it's red tape around YouTube. It's red tape. Like it's like you gotta be I won't say in a group or a cult because it's not quite that, but I do think that if you have to chase the algorithm, and when I say the red tape, I think it has to do with obviously guidelines and community guidelines, but also like being knowing how to chase an algorithm systemically where you can can monetize and whatnot. The only thing with that is that the content. That's what it's about the gossip content, the gossip slop. That's where you get like where you're distracting everything is a distraction and everything is so surface level. There's nothing really being discussed on a real high level shit. Then it's like it's then the community collectively and culturally gets dumbed down, and I do think that that is by design. I remember when YouTube first came out, people was just expressing themselves. It didn't matter what you talked about, it didn't matter what it was. And what they weren't chasing the algorithm. And so it was a more authentic environment. for with with people. People was being they self, discussing what they want to talk about, just letting it rip. It wasn't all this biased algorithms, like all this shadow ban. And so motherfuckers was able to get their rocks off and say what they wanted to say and teach what they wanted to teach. 2009, 2010, 2011. It was like the wild, wild west. Things crack down, and then things get changed, and then chase the people decide, the influencers decide to chase the algorithm. Okay, well, this topic can be talked about, this gets banned, this gets demonetized, this gets devalued. Okay, this only say these things, can't talk about these things, don't bring up this person, go after this person. And so when everybody does that, it creates like a hive mind of chasing algorithm. And so that's what you see, a hive mind of chasing the algorithm when all the shit is the same. It sounds the same. Oh, Corey Holcomb did this, and he did. Yeah, he probably did do it. I've been knew he didn't like no black women. I don't know why y'all. You see, I'm guys. I don't know why y'all shocked. I'm like, that ain't. I never. That was. He was never my cup of tea. I had nothing against him, but I just was kind of like listening. And I'm like, you know, you can feel in someone's spirit, how they feel towards the divine feminine, or how they feel towards women. You could feel it through the. So I didn't hear all that other stuff he was saying to somebody, played it clip by clip, but I was like, oh, but like just on it was some years ago, like probably like 10 years ago, and I heard something. I said, no, I don't like the way that sounds. Like the frequency of it just didn't resonate with me. Like I don't think he liked women. That's literally what I took from it, from the spirit. But so now I guess they want to do it, the dog pile on him, and then probably rightfully so, most likely rightfully so, because I think they said he had hit some. I didn't watch that video. They said he hit somebody or something, but they do this with everybody. That's just one. I'm just giving an example. They do that with everybody, where they have them go after a person. That Omar Johnson was on a, he was one that, and then there's so many of them. But I'm saying is like somebody is directing them to do that because they're pushing like some sort of agenda, good, bad, right, or wrong. Rightfully, maybe it's deserved, maybe it's not. But when you see a community create a hive mind of algorithmic chasement, there's no creativity, it gets stagnant pretty much. you know if they do this with this idolizing, trying to look for somebody. Y'all know you ain't gonna get no, you ain't gonna get no, if they ain't a seraph or a chieftain or 125D, you ain't gonna be able to mimic someone, they essence. You're not. That's like somebody trying to mimic Michael Jackson. You're not gonna be fucking able to be yourself. Do you're not gonna be able to mimic that. I was just thinking, I was just saying earlier, I say, y'all remember that song by Fantasia? If you don't want me, then don't talk to me. You don't want, oh, go ahead and free yourself. And remember that? And then she was doing that screaming. I said, voice is extremely unique. No one ever really did a cover of that song when you think about it. No one ever has been able to do a cover of Fantasia's song from that album she released. But if you don't want me, then don't talk to me. Remember that? And she was doing a, that's actually an incredibly hard song to sing. That is an incredibly unique voice. It is incredibly hard to sing a cover to that song. And I was literally saying that earlier. I was like, yo, nah, we ain't really ever hear nobody cover her. I said, that song about 20 years old now. You would think like somebody could recover that. They can't, um, that voice is unique. That's her essence. You can't copy that. Like, you know what I mean? And I was thinking, like, that was my jam back in the day. That whole album was fire. That whole album. You don't want me, then don't talk to me. Go ahead and free yourself. Remember that? And it's, I try, I try. And her voice is just so unique. And I was like, that's a really, you know, dope thing. Like, people can't cover, that's like with Sun Ra, or let's do Thelonious Monk, right? Thelonious Monk is a genius, piano player. It's really hard to cover his stuff. He's really out there. His mind is able to expand. Like people thought like Thelonious Monk and Sun Ra were aliens. They literally thought like there's no way, like as far as other magicians working with them and even trying to recreate their work. That's like when they was trying to copy Sun Ra sound, his intervals, and they couldn't keep up. They couldn't keep up. And so we have to, when we talk about children of the light, Children of the corn. No, children of the light. Shit, children of the corn too. How many of you niggas grew up eating chicken and corn? Cream and corn. What was it? Creamy, creamy corn with the fried chicken. Children of the corn. Children of the light. With children of the light, you're not going to be able to just, and so that's what we have to know. That's what we have to embrace. And that's what you have to know, grow, being rooted in yourself. You ain't going to be able to, I'm like, man, but that's what we said with this content. Whew. So that's why they all be copying my motherfucking ass. And then they be going, shit, we don't want nobody to see it. She's not a part of the club. I don't want nobody to still. We ain't got no content. I saw something. Let me, I ain't gonna do a video for a month. I want to see how this shit deteriorate because because but like I said, had us us free, give us free. Had us niggas had our own institution in school, which we got our own school. Not the university is 100% owned by me, if you didn't know. But I suffer capital wise, as far as, I don't have an investor. I don't have what's it called, a venture capitalist or an investor, a lot of stakeholders. I don't have any stakeholders. It's 100% owned by me. And it is registered, state and whatnot. It's a legal entity. Um, and so but I'm saying, this formula of creating, that was taught to the Negro hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, and we need to bring it back now. And we're going to be teaching it to children now. hmm we're going to be teaching it, and it is going to be offline, and I would like that to be in person. And so, don't the National University is here. National University, the Council of Children. We have a puberty school. I'm going to be bringing out that puberty school for the children, council of children, and how I want that set up, and what days, what's the curriculum, what to teach, what organization should it be in. The Black churches, community centers, um, Jack and Jill organizations that have children. This puberty school framework and the Council of Children under the Naki order can be easily implemented. And I'm going to put that on the website. That content is already done. I just got to literally copy and paste on the damn website. And we said Council of Children Puberty School, and we want this rolled out once a week. It's like just like how you had. Remember they had children's church. I don't know if you guys remember. I used to go to children's church as a kid, and they had a children's church, and once a week, that type of thing. And so we have puberty schools with the Council of Children under the NACD order. But the big point is the framework of getting this organization around our own youth and taking just a step forward over the very destinies of our lives. And so I'll be bringing out, okay, what is the curriculum at puberty school? Look, look, you can ignore it, but the timestamp is there. When they come, when another interdimensional beings come, and when the aliens come, as y'all say, and they say, "What did Negroes do? How did they go out? What's going to be our history? What's going to be our legacy? Oh, a bunch of niggas sold out, and a bunch of niggas was just sellouts and just totally, or is it going to be, yo, they was inventing, they was doing this, it was doing that Queen Mothership shit, they was doing some Atlantean shit, they created all different types of technology, flying motherfucking put them skates on your feet. They invented motherfucking skates, and that you push the button and it take you off of, and your ass is flying. They invented so many cool inventions and brought a whole dimension back to this planet that was once theirs, that was once a part of their ancestral knowledge. They reawakened it. They worked together. They got together. They didn't devalue each other. They weren't haters. They got it together. They protected one another. They didn't sabotage one another. They got rid of the jealousy. They can either have that route, or when when them real motherfuckers, when them Saturnian motherfuckers get down here, when they go and see what the Negro did, or and they see, because oh, y'all was selling out revolutionaries. Oh, you were selling out. Oh, you sold out this. Oh, you were killing. You had gender wars. You were fighting. Your birth rate went down. You couldn't get it together. You couldn't just try to love on one another. Oh, you valued them white folks, even though it was abusing. You still kept running up there. Still kept taking the deals. You still kept. You have a choice. Collectively as a community, we have a choice. We have a choice. So that's what niggas is gonna have to. I'm telling you, that's your history, your legacy, your Akashic record, your collective consciousness. And it's go for all ethnicities. I'm talking about Negroes right now. Okay, you're in the right race and all. Everybody has got to answer that for they, excuse me, community as well. But when they come, Chad Turney in and 125Ds, the rest of the beings from 125D and angels, when they come and they say, "What the fuck was y'all doing? Primordial mother, what was y'all doing? What? Get the belt. Get the." That's what primordial mother gonna say. Get the motherfucking belt, because y'all niggas is out here acting like chickens with your heads cut off. You done summoned my ass down here. We come down, we look, we ready to roll. We look, okay, what's going on? Y'all ready to build this empire? Okay. We got Kylie J.N.S, J.N.S Stanley. We already know who she is. Like, let's stop playing. Y'all been watching her since she was 5 years old. Government, been watching her. What's up? Okay. We go and look. Niggas is talking about reparations. Okay, yeah, okay. We like that. We like that. Y'all talking about self-identification. Okay, cool. Y'all talking about y'all want to have your own ethnicities and your own, delineation. All this. Okay, already delineated, but sure. I mean, Jacobians already delineated your ass in the 1600s, but okay, sure. By surnames and coats of arms. Sure. I mean, still with the Indian. Nonetheless, so we watching, we looking, we ready to make the move, and then you pivot us to some fake stage theater masonry. What's going on here? Huh? Hmm? Wait a minute. You ain't summoning no primordial powers to go and funnel some niggas to no damn Republican Party. Wait a minute. We have ancestral blueprints to rebuild empires and civilizations. And you telling us that and you want to use my energy and my power for that? Oh, you done lost your rabbit ass. Get the belt. Niggas, get the belt. Who else was involved in this plan? I had some white folks I was selling out to. Get their ass to and bring them out. Oh, y'all out of pocket. You out of yeah, out of pocket. Y'all know good and hell well we don't play that. And I'll say this. They have to pay you to lose. They do. They have to pay you to lose. And anytime, I'll let you guys into just to know how advanced we are. We talked about navigational travels and even dimensional travel. Anytime you touch down in a landmass, when you have to start from scratch, because this is what you guys are risking. I'm just saying, just humanity in general. If you guys don't have to you guys can't get past the wars and all this stuff. Anytime you touch down on new land, whether that be you from a different dimension or you got in a ship and went somewhere else, you immediately want to assess where your rivers are. Okay. Anytime you come to a new planet, the first thing you want to do is take assessment of where are the rivers. Nile River, Niger River, Mississippi River, Ganga River. But hear me out. Ganga, Gange, right? River. What's that? What word is embedded in that? Naga River. right? Right. Ganga, that's it. That's Euphrates. You got the Euphrates River, but not Ganga is a river in India, right? But then you got Niger River, but you could be pronounced the N word, like with the hard ER, Niger River. So you got Ganga, which is the anagram Nanga, and then you got Niger River, which is shaped like a snake, and that's Naga. It's the same variation, right? And so you assess where the rivers are. You have Mississippi River, that's probably MISS, Remember we used to sing that? I used to think I was a genius as a kid because I knew how to spell Mississippi. And I remember my cousin she blew my bubble. She's like, girl, everybody know how to spell Mississippi. They got a song to that. M-I, cricket letter I, cricket letter I, humpback I. Remember that? But when you look at cricket letter ISS, you're still getting that Mississippi. You're still getting that S shape, just like how the Niger River is shaped, that S shape. And then America, land of the great plumed serpent, or Turtle Island. And so, you always want to assess anytime you get to a new planet, where are the rivers, fresh water. Okay, the oceans are important too, but you definitely want to know where the river's at. And nothing else to wash your stinking ass. But also, you have to have a fresh water source, because then there's normally that's where there's life, on that planet. Okay, there's life. They got bodies of rivers. There's gonna be life somewhere nearby, and if there isn't, what's going on? What happened to that? Then you start to ask questions like, okay, normally you're gonna. If typically these beings are not afraid of people. They're not afraid of people. People are, at this time we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, thousands of years ago. Melanated folk is aware of visitations. They expect the angels to come. They expect motherfuckers, and so ain't nobody gonna be. It's not a big deal to land right where some motherfuckers, some humans gonna be. It's just not. It's never a big deal historically. Historically, or and so you assess where the rivers are. And when you think about it, in Black American culture, rivers are incredibly, incredibly important. Okay. Think about wade in the water, wade in the water. You just wait. No, it's trouble the water. Guys gonna trouble the water. Okay. But remember that other song, Down by the River. I was born by the river. I was born by the river. Remember the song? The river of Jordan is like more than love. It's like flowing in the river of Jordan. Do you ever notice a lot of Black people love about rivers? Then you had baptism in the river. So navigation of water should be, has been, and should be even going forward important to niggas. Okay? Navigation. Now, how do we start at a small level? You take your ass to Amazon and get you one of them blow up boats. That's about $10. They got them blow up boats for $10, and you use that as part of your safety measures in case there's a hurricane. Start there. They got get a damn safety floaty jacket, $15, right? Um, um, that's just one option. Inflatable boat for $9. They start at $9, but you get a little more, $50, $100. You bigger. You got to get that one for, they got the $50 one, and you be able to get in that boat. It just inflatable, and you store it right when you storage with your other safety measures, your other, what's it called, how people have, like the little shed where they have some cool things. Some people got an actual boat. I mean, we're just saying, if you just, gig check to gig check. But if you got a little more, maybe you can actually get a boat. Like, I know a nigga that had an actual yacht. You get a boat. You can actually have a boat. Maybe you do it, or maybe you're already there. Like, you got an actual boat to get into. But what we're saying is navigation has been important, just like fishing. So part of puberty school, we would like with the puberty school, some of the trips, especially in the summer with the Negro children, you want to take them fishing, especially like if you're a black church, you get them kids in the van, you take them fishing. Okay. You take them canoeing, you take them kayaking. It's part of their puberty school because part of it is the activities that teach them these type of skills. That's what the black church should have been doing the whole damn time. Okay. Oh, go invested in them youth and making sure they built up. Just like even the formula for the inventions for children, that should have been being taught in the church too. It, at one point was in the backwoods, juke joint, discussing politics, discussing all types of plans, discussing revolts, discussing, you know, politics, all types of shit. And so that's why you don't see me knock it. It's not that we're trying to force a belief on someone. We're very much beyond that. When we talk about repurposing the church, the black church in 2026, and I'm going to actually do a longer video on this, but give me like 2 minutes just to address some key points. GIA, for one, you have to understand we're military scientists. Okay. On top of educators, researchers, on top of a host of other things. But when we talk about the black church in 2026, we talk strategy. Skillful means, this is a term called upaya. Upaya. So people can learn how actually, go look that up. I mean, skillful means. Now, if I was trying to force a belief on you, I wouldn't tell you the word upaya. Okay. Skillful means you meet people where they are at. Where are the Negroes? A lot of them are leaving, whatever. I don't know what's going on in that world. But when we were thinking of like, how do you repurpose the black church? Because I do knock the church of the higher self. I have my own IPU. But I also know that my IPU clashes with where the majority of black Americans are. You know, they still doing they still have, and to be honest, it's not that it's at odds. I think I've started to research. I have a master's degree in religious studies, and me actually, so I've read so many texts from so many different schools of thoughts and whatnot, and just decided to create my own, to be quite frank. But I'll say this: be my roots. I grew up in the church. I grew up going to the church since 5 years old, so it didn't really a big deal. I didn't have a bad experience. I didn't go to mega church. I went to a cerebral church that was small, and that was on some level conscious, but was unspoken. Meaning the black people were looking out for each other, and the black people were educated, and the black people were investing in their youth. And it was just quiet, and niggas was just doing their thing and having a good time, singing in the choir. And so we're not trying to like push a belief. That's a very childish approach. If someone is saying like, oh, you're trying to get us into religion and you're trying to make us get back to the church, do what the fuck you want. Who the fuck cares? But we're talking about existing institutions and evolving those frameworks. If we need to build new ones, then let's do it. But I'm saying like, if the buildings are already there and the organizational structures can be repurposed with the not the order frameworks 369 go, and that's just the church. You got community centers, you got organizations, Jack and Jill, Links, all these different orders. They could use these frameworks. Like it's not a religion thing. It's not about that. We're just looking like this is like how you have different organizational structures for a corporation. So for instance, you'll have the Fox matrix, the matrix hierarchy, centralized hierarchies, horizontal organizational structures, decentralized organizational structures. Um, like I said, that's the matrix one. I think there's so many ones. So what the 369 Nicola governance structure is, that's the same. There's nothing illegal about it, but it was designed in mind with of government in terms of something that could be rolled out on a really high on a large level rather, but also scaled down if something needs to be, for just a local community, just for a school, just for a church, just for an organization, a temple, whatever. And so that's what that's about in terms of the black community. If you know You guys know is the potential for World War III. You guys know that there's potential for things to happen to this country. Uh, you guys know what's going on in the government. You guys know that there's a lot of destabilization. You guys know that there's rogue. You guys know that there's an attempted coup. You can't be scared where you can bury your head in a fucking sand. Oh, it doesn't involve me. You still got to be in control of your community over your life. And so I say, okay, how about we just develop this? How do we get this? And then I'm thinking like, okay, the only standing institution that we know right now is is the black church, and the people are fading from it as they say, but that could be the belief thing, which I'm not here to push that. I'm a military scientist. I'm thinking like, damn, if something completely shuttered in terms of government and structure, what would be your next best bet? Now, you do have a lot of sellout pastors. And these sellout pastors, as we told these black women to get in front of it. It's the age of divine feminine. We don't see no black women stepping up with them type of blueprints like how I created, but they should. They should have probably just been following it, but everybody's in the ego and bitches is all about competition. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. But, and so they was slamming something instead of just asking questions. Well, why do you keep talking about the church? Are you trying to get us to go back to the church? I don't know. I'm just thinking like if in critical times, how do you organize people quickly, and particularly the youth? But it's not about mind control. It's like, you pious skillful means, where are they at? What's a legal protected class status? Religion. Now when you think of strategy, and when you think of how do you be able to organize and discuss the things you need to do as a community under a legal protected class status, didn't you historically do that in the black church? So what would you see what I'm saying? Like, this is like the level of thought. This is not just like, oh, we're trying to push down Jesus down your throat. Like, that is such a childish like way to approach me. You insult my fucking intelligence. You insult me. Like, that's such a low level. Like, ugh, just even thinking about that is just like, ugh, like, why would you think somebody is on that type of wavelength about trying to get somebody to believe in something? Why would I care about that? Care about what I believe. I don't care about what you believe. Now, if you want some guys, we can have some ideas. I learn from everybody. You learn from me. I learn from everybody. So I can't. But it's offensive because it's like, that's to me that's spiritually immature, because I'm thinking of, from point A to point B. How do we get a little more autonomy in this bitch and sovereignty in this bitch? Yeah, we got a lot of sellout pastors. So that may not even be, community centers. It's only community centers. Farms, black farms, okay? We can set up some tents on some black farms and do what we got, some teaching, and start real small. Look, I'm a nigga that would start from scratch. Real talk. Because that's how we Jacobians, we know how to build. Like I said, when you come on someone's land, even someone's motherfucking planet, first thing you do, you try to get an assessment of the rivers. Okay. The next thing you do, you never build or develop where there cannot be development naturally. Like, say that's okay. Let's give you an example. Dubai, you never would have built on that land or developed it because it's not something that would have been able to be inhabited naturally. You will face the probability of disaster almost imminently and inevitably. That's something that you just must know. That's how you could tell, like, how the frequency have fallen so low, because it's like, you never ever develop cities, towns, communities, nothing on land that cannot be naturally inhabited. That's why your first clue is bodies of water, rivers. And if you don't stay away from, you're not going to develop a whole city like that Dubai stuff. And they running out of water, and they got issues, and then the adultery, Sodom and Gomorrah, they running it like Sodom and Gomorrah over there with the Dubai, with the porter body and all that stuff. We know about they were talking about that in high school. You said, damn, they going over there for 50K, 80K to do this and what, huh? So it's a den of thieves, and they sitting up there, all that Sodom and Gomorrah shit over there on a land that can't even really be. naturally inhabited. They had to build that man-made land. It's not real. Oh, we got Boldly Boldly in the building. Greetings, beautiful pictures and thumbnails. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Matter of fact, let me take this hair weave thing off of here. Let me, what do I do? Do I stop sharing it? I think I can stop sharing it. Let's see, can I stop sharing? What happens when I stop sharing it? Oh, it goes like that. Okay. See, did I stop sharing it on Rumble? Okay. Um, but yeah, you don't build on a land where it's not going to be able to be naturally inhabited because I'm telling you, you're gonna be screwed. Maybe not now, but you will be. It's a guarantee. You like it's like setting yourself up for failure. And so as far as empire and civilization building, so that's the first thing we know. Okay, that Dubai shit. That's why God was like, don't ever take your ass over there. Don't ever take your motherfucking ass over there because it's Sodom and Gomorrah. Anyways, they're doing that bullshit to women over there. They got slavery over there, and it's not natural. It's man made. It's not natural. They would not have been able to be over there had they not developed it and manipulate. You don't want to manipulate land places like that. You don't want to manipulate land that much like that. And manipulate an environment that much. You don't have to manipulate nature that much because we got all the natures that you need all around it. That's inhabitable for you. All the rivers and lakes and all that shit. Stick to the lakes and river that your motherfucking ass is used to. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Let's say, please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. And here's the thing that building up like that on that's like chasing waterfalls. The water's gonna fall. Like the and this is Dubai. And so, they want to bring all this Dubai chocolates all into the West. And, they got to be careful. You're in Sprouts and Whole Foods, you Dubai chocolate, making it seem like it's exotic. Don't fall for that bullshit. I don't buy that shit. I ain't eating that. I don't know the energy is messed up. I don't like the energy of that. I don't. I like the energy too messed up. You're trying to make it luxurious, little Dubai. No, it ain't luxurious. I could see if y'all was doing, something else. Yeah, they got oud from Swiss Arabia, But it's like, please, that is not. They're trying to make that sound exotic. I'm like, dude, you got exotic in your own country in America. You know what y'all niggas could have been doing? Banana pudding. Like, that they don't even have a lot of stuff out there with banana pudding. Y'all don't. And I could do more with it. I'm just saying they got all the stuff about Dubai chocolates and all the stores now. Exotic luxury. That ain't no exotic luxury. That's Dubai, that man-made land that's doing porter potty paying and doing slavery and harming women's shitting on with all types of corrupt, horrific, crazy stuff they doing over there. Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, no, you don't need to be acting like that's luxury. You don't know what kind of spell is on that. You don't know what kind of spell they doing porter potty. You don't know where it's in the back of the manufacturer where the chocolate is being done. You don't know what kind of shit. Let me stop. I want to talk. He's still in Burger King. So let me stop. But I'm just saying, you don't know what the fuck. But yeah, and so you make sure you do not build on land that is not naturally inhabitable. If you see it ain't no land, no water, no natural water coming in, no natural greenery coming in, don't manipulate it to have it because it's a disaster every time. We've been there and done that. It's a fucking disaster. We've monitored it for thousands of years. It's a fucking disaster. Okay, don't do it. Next. Where them lakes and run them rivers. The big, we prefer them on the river. Okay, it makes you less nomadic. You have other smaller bodies of water. I'm just saying you have to maybe have to be more nomadic. Okay. There's a bunch of other things you can do. That's just a starting point, but I'm not giving out all that game like that on no damn line. Okay. So back to the strategy behind the black church. You got skillful means, which is upaya. You got a legal protected class status, which is the government cannot do anything to attack your religion. Now, what you do with that religion is, is what you want to do. What beliefs you have is what you want to do. Should we believe that niggas should be free? That's our religious belief, that we believe that niggas should have their own autonomy, sovereignty, and ascendancy, and spiritual evolution and control over their economic future by doing A, B, C, and D, and that is our religious belief. And yeah, brother Yeshua, sure. You have to cloak things. You have to be strategic. You have to think on levels multifaceted. Nothing is as it seems. Now you have military science behind the strategy and repurposing the Black church. That goes with the legal protected class status, but it's also the way you can get information out, the way you can communicate with each other. We just developed Nakian language. It combines numerology and hieroglyphics and pictographs and studies. It's a very complex language because we have to circumvent state surveillance and shit. So it is what it is. um, and we're still working on it, but it is pretty much like that. That's something that you can't. How would you teach that? Where are we gonna teach that at? Okay, y'all gonna meet me in the fucking backyard, niggas? Let's go right now. Let's go in the woods. Ain't going in no woods. Look, come meet me. where we where we gonna meet? So you have these churches, you have these community centers, you have these organizations, but even then you got to be careful. No motherfucking take. Okay, yeah, you might have a church, but we get in a church van and we going up to Stone Mountain, or we going up to one of these motherfucking mountains, Adirondack mountains, one of these motherfucking mountains. Give me your cell phone. There ain't no cell phones. You didn't have a problem going to get a cell phone to go get their door to the freak off party to go get fucked, so you can get the phone so you can learn a new sacred language that to help protect yourself and to help obscure, and it has symbols and nobody knows what it means, and be able to speak and nobody knows what it means, and be able to see symbols and pictographs and nobody know what it means but your ass. So yeah, you ain't had a problem going to give your phone up so you can go get fucked. You should not have a problem to give your phone to go learn some knowledge yourself, some ancestral knowledge, and gatekeep it. So what's the fucking problem? Okay, so that's another thing. We talk about the military strategy behind being able to communicate, you know, and how would you organize that better? Okay, the only thing I can think of is a church, because I wanted to make it about the occult. Okay, most of the where was niggas learning hoodoo at? The church. Where was niggas learning obeah at? The church. Where was niggas learn? How did y'all learn druidic science and shamanism? Where was y'all learning? In the backwoods of the church for hundreds of years. So what the fuck is the issue now? You've been doing hoodoo. You've been doing all types of shit in the church. So what the fuck is the problem now? I don't understand. You've been to, but my thing is, I think the women should. Again, this is the Queen Mothership. This is the age of divine feminine. Yeah, these pastors. Yeah, y'all missed the mark. Y'all didn't teach them shit. We do esoteric breakdown of the Bible. I liked it. I like reading it. But also, there's other things that we want to teach. Like I just found, it's been 15 years. I got reacquainted with one of these sciences of it's too just too advanced to discuss on here. But like certain things that, yeah, we want to be able to discuss these things with each other. You know, like these different esoteric teachings, gnostic teachings get deep, get real deep. Quantum entanglement, teleportation, quantum tunneling. These things, believe it or not, can be found in the original Bible. But there's also could be found just in general. Like you have schematics, like there's schematics of different types of spaceships, all types of. We want to study these things. We want to look at these things. We want to, just for curiosity's sake, why are we here? Why are we here? You know, that's really all it is. Like having some deep discussions, have some cool discussions. I mean, it's some really cool stuff I would like to discuss. I mean, it's so much. And then when we talk about the age of divine feminine, okay, you sitting up there, you talking about you being blasphemous because you can't find it, and you do a lot, which I don't care what people think about that. But I'm just saying, if somebody was to be like on a scholarly level, break down your claims that Yeshua is a protector of the divine feminine, and from that old order that Tahuti is from, like prove it. I will go verse for verse with your motherfucking ass. I mean, you're not touching me on that. I already wrote it down. I just don't want to teach that stuff online. It's through the roof. It's so glaringly obvious. The teachings are the same. And a primordial mother, it wouldn't be at odds because some of the stuff is even Saturnian. Even some of the rituals, we remember them. It's like we know like what the rituals were. And so, it's like it wouldn't. You don't have to agree with everything as a seraph being. I could understand the confusion among angels and the confusion among even people that was like, okay, from his bloodline, like, what do that have to do with us? Like, what are you teaching? I understand that. But what I'm saying is like, I don't want to get caught up in the weeds of a surface level argument about what someone believes or a religion. I just find that childish when there's much more developed topics we could be teaching people, whatever school of thought you want to teach it out of. But I think there's some interest with me right now. I'm just going back and doing some cross intersectional work with the Ethiopian version, trying to pinpoint where the other, because there's 150 books missing, trying to look at some of these gnostic texts, but also just in general, knowledge in general, and honestly, cross-referencing it with physics. I do have to say theoretical physics, and the knowledge of psychology. Things are, I'm just, it didn't, obviously, some of the emerald tablets and whatnot. That's always been the thing. I mean, again, I have a master's in religious studies, so I've been doing that for 15 years now. Like, it's not, it's like, please don't insult and try to accuse me of just trying to put niggas in a church, bring them back to religion. That's like, that's, you know how advanced my shit is, even on my channel alone. And we still watered this shit down. It's watered down on my channel and it's still powerful and potent and niggas be copying it. Imagine we actually right where we need to be offline and talking and get to discuss some things. Well, we about to get real deep. And so we think about like even on a political level too. Like remember, um, politics used to always be heavily discussed in the church. These are very cerebral people. Like even we talk about MLK. These are cerebral people. Um, they're looking for they're trying to smear campaign all these black leaders or whatever. And I don't fall for it. I understand that nobody is perfect, so I don't understand why they want to smear campaign MLK now. That's really strange, but they did that with Michael Jackson too. So you have to just know yourself, know thyself. Don't let people try to smear campaign. Again, we know motherfuckers not perfect. We know motherfuckers if they did some crime, they do the time. If you did the crime, you do the time. You hurt somebody and they come forward and they say they got a case and we hear them out. We hear them out. You have to come on. But when these people are not there to defend themselves and they dead and gone and it's 50 years later and they still talking about, oh, he did this and he did remember that, and you don't even have no proof of it, and we see it coming from you know some people that's not even in your own community. Yeah, that's pretty fucking strange. um so when we think about tradition and culture, hoodoo being taught, it is taught in the church. I don't know, even whether it's in the backwoods or it is, you know. um Esoteric metaphysics was also taught historically. Cosmograms, astronomy, it just is what it is. Solomonic magic. And so this is like stuff that, like, if you study the true history of the black church, not just trying to make it about Christians versus whatever, not that nonsense, but when you get really serious about like, okay, what is the role that the black church has had? I'm talking about small southern, maybe medium size. I'm not talking about no mega, a $40 million jet prosperity gospel preaching. No, I'm not talking about that. That is done, and it should be done. I'm not talking about having some male pastor, he sold his booty hole and it's fake. And and it's all into that, that no harming children. The new church of the higher self Nike Church of Higher Self. Ain't no harm in children. No, and it's really, we gonna bring out them teachings, like you say, prove that prove about the divine feminine and all this stuff. Oh, we getting with you, and we gonna bring out how the new law states about women can teach, as far as Mary and Magdalene being uh chosen to teach after the death of Yeshua. And so we have to bring that matriarchy back, because like, even if we do repurpose the black church, I'm not bulging on that. I'm not bulging on it. It has to be women of great intelligence, great integrity, great character, great caliber. I ain't talking about looks and nothing, but great character, integrity. Okay. And we know how the Queen Mothership once was. We know how Kali Ma Ro, we know how these goddesses that were once on this planet, these interdimensional beings, angels on this planet. We know the level that they operate at. Teaching is very serious. A lot of us is just on this planet to teach, and to help guide souls along. And that was very serious to us. It's something we enjoy doing, something we love doing. Anytime you've had somebody that's teaching for 10 hours straight and talking shit, like how I have done on my channel, that's in the epigenetics. We want to help people along. We want to encourage motherfuckers. Sometimes we want to cuss motherfuckers out. Sometimes we just want to talk shit, you know? So that's all it is. Like, okay, it has to, and I'm not bulging on that. It has to be, because these niggas, they have shown us, they have given us they ass to kiss as a community. We can't, they not gonna build nothing. I don't know, man. I don't have no trust, and I should work on that, and I have to work on that. But I just don't. I don't have no trust. And can you blame us, the women? And so, you know, however people take that, you guys know that even within the infrastructures, there is male leadership as far as the diarchal components of the Queen Mothership. There is male leadership, of course. Um, it's not even how do I say this? But as far as the black church itself in 2026, it has to be more women involvement, and they have to be following the framework of a original science that is native to them. And they have to be following frameworks that are logical, that can be tweaked and agile. It's as simple as that. As far as the women, it's not just like, the tweaking and the ingenuity and the organizational planning is the skill that black women already have. And so it shouldn't be like all this bickering and all this I mean, you could wait for these niggas to do it for you, but look where they got you. Look where they had you, pimping and hoeing. Look where they had you in these videos. The only thing they have you in the strip club with the big ass BBW with a 26-inch wig with the fucking lashes over your head, and tattoos everywhere. That's where they got you. Pimping and hoeing is the pimparchy is what you gonna get fucking with them. You ain't getting no queen mothership. You ain't getting no organized community. Or if you go to white folks, you're gonna be working in corporate America, stressed out, dealing with fucking microaggressions every 10 days, and they know you're a fucking genius, but they want to play you down, degrade you, overwork you, undercompensate you, compete with you, give you microaggressions, and fuck with you and stress your ass out too. Either way, you fucking stress the fuck out. So I've been told you 6 years ago, we have to do something on our own as women. I want to be, I want to, everybody want to be the chief of that motherfucking Indian. You don't tell me. And my son. And what we need, we'll never let a woman lead. These niggas knock you upside, these niggas don't give a fuck. They sit there, they couldn't wait to get a deal with them white boys. They couldn't wait to cut the deal and throw our asses to the wolves, the whole community to the wolves, like they did with music, like they did with all the other shit, selling out the music. That watered down shit we got today. You ain't getting no Big Mama Dora, no. You ain't getting no Nina Simone. You ain't getting no James Brown. You ain't getting no Michael Jackson. You can get it. You will get it when you build your own stuff up and honor yourself and honor nature and you build your own shit up. Yeah, we're gonna be activated again. And we created our whole new music genre for black niggas. I already created a whole new genre for us. I'm gonna teach it. I'm gonna bring it out. I'm gonna release my song dedicated to the youth, and it's a whole new genre of music. And we do expect the Negro to follow suit and to embrace that genre of music and to bring back that soul, that singing, that beautiful harmonies, harmonizing melodies. I was just listening to that they had the what's it called, the anthem Star Spangled Banner with it was Brandy. Ever since we was a kid, we used to go to class and music schools and stuff, and they used to say that they liked the way Brandy did harmonize, and they said it was really advanced. I grew up hearing that my whole life, but when I heard the Star Spangled Banner, she had some sort of anthem that they just did, and the heart, all of that coolness. They say, that's her gift, and I feel like she understands her range and has mastered the intricacies of her voice. Like, and it's it's. I mean, you guys listen to it for yourself, but it sounds dope. But if you listen to Never Say Never, it sounded dope then too. It sounded dope then. But when I heard that recently, I was listening to that this week because I'm studying music theory and studying these things because I'm working on music and stuff on my own. And so I said, well, that's dope, And so we bringing those days back. We bringing complex shit back. We bringing Thelonious Monk on that ass back. That's what we expect of these youths. And we gotta nourish them, and we have to heal each other. Ain't no government coming to heal us. Ain't no government coming to save us. Ain't no celebrity coming to save your stinking ass. You have to do it just we have to heal each other. And if you're not ready to heal as a community, there is a lot of trauma. We have to heal as a community. We have to take those baby steps. And that's what the puberty school, that curriculum is, baby steps. And we have the Not Wellness Pod Center. We're going to be bringing out that stuff where, it's about healing. Now, when I said all these niggas need to be doing is just meditating, and everybody took issue with that, it was just clearing the mind. There's too much mind control. There's too much stuff going on in the world. It's too much psyops. There's so much, all them type of psyops and with all these type of trickeries. And then you see they got they're trying to confuse motherfuckers with the AI stuff now. Just meditation, just awareness, just some rest, just some meditation, some rest. That was it. It wasn't you're trying to just meditation. That's where we have to start. We have to have a blank. We have to kind of just clear the mind. It's all that, and that's all it was. That's all it was for. I wasn't trying to tell nobody. It just meditation. Now, if you meditate on the word, you want to meditate on Yeshua, you want to meditate on Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha meditation style, Chundi, Charlie, Chuli, whatever. For those who in Mahayana Buddhisms, and I'm not here to judge people's religion. I have my thing. I like the way I do my thing, and I'm not here. I can't force what other people do because I see it from such an advanced level that I've evolved past all the IPUs on this planet, but I see them as IPUs and I respect them. And I like some of them more than others. And I'm learning things about certain things more than others. But I will not, I don't, all that dogmatism, that's not of God. God don't have no religion. God is love. God is vast. And God does send messengers, and God does have teams of angels and other gods. And that it says that God judges among the gods. But what's interesting is like what I'd be looking for is the tapestry between these different IPUs. That's really what I'll be doing, especially when I'm rereading. The new thing is I'm reading the Interlearning Your Bible, which is Hebrew, Greek, and English, and some of it's like a numerology code too with some of these Bible verses. It's like numbers, so I think that could be the Greek. But nonetheless, I'm just looking at this and observing this and like looking for tapestry, looking for concepts that I know intuitively in my soul, and looking to see, if I find it in there. Like looking to see, okay, well, that's in there. It's quantum entanglement in there. I found Wi-Fi in there. I found uh VHS, the prophets talking about like how VHSs were gonna come, and all these, it was just stuff that fly over people's head, like stuff about teleportation, and especially the stuff about the women, and even some very, very uh, esoteric stuff that clearly um oof, I'll say this. I remember a sister was saying that it was in there in the code, and she had read it, and people had dragged her like, that's not what that means, that's not what that means, how dare you say that, how dare you interpret that Bible verse like that, you just stinking. They just called her everything but a child of God. Okay, they was just, you just the hell, you going to hell to blah 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 blah. And so I said, well, I when as I heard her read it, I said, wow, that could easily be interpreted that way. But then maybe it means it don't mean, maybe because that the serpentine, the seraph language is found in there, as far as like one verse could mean different, one word could mean like a bunch of different meanings. And so you don't have to put it together. So I said, well, but I found references to it about 5 times in the Bible already, even in the New Testament, based on that verse she read. No, I'm not giving a verse out because I don't want that. I just don't want. I don't need an uproar about some nonsense. That's. I ain't doing it. But I did find it multiple times, and I have to say that she was correct. Like all them people attack her, and that's why it's like these pastors underdeveloped people. They underdeveloped the the youth, the parishioners, the church, the black folk. Yeah, I underdeveloped them because that lady caught that, and she is a highly, highly, highly intelligent. And when she read it, I said, "Well, yeah, that probably could." And then everybody was just drag you nasty for that. Oh, you're so wrong and devils in you. Oh my gosh! And I said, "Ooh!" And I said, "God, help me if that's not what I'm supposed to be seeing." Because sometimes you read it, and you can actually start seeing the images of what the actual words mean. And I said, come on now, I don't know, man. If I'm seeing this wrong, come on now, because we knew the Saturnian ritual. That's what that order was doing. When they brought it down here, we told them not to teach them humans that. Don't tell me it made it in there. It's in the Bible. I said, how did it get in there? I said, damn. No wonder why the Masons was a shut the fuck up. Good God. How much time I'm in? Because I told my ass I'm gonna get. Oh, we had 2 hours 30. Okay. She said I'm scared to eat it too. What you talking about? If you don't mind, because I know I jumped a bit, so I'm not sure what you referring to at this point in time. Bully bully. She said I'm scared to eat too. Um, but let's so we're talking about repurposing for political, historical, cultural traditions. There's military science behind it, there's legal protected class status behind it, and then there's skillful means, which is meeting people where they are at. And a lot of niggas, they ain't, you ain't about to tell no niggas that, at the very least, regardless of what you believe, you're not gonna tell no niggas that spiritual stuff ain't real. You ain't gonna tell, I don't care what it is. You're not gonna ever be able to convince a bunch of black people that spiritual shit ain't real. Simple as that. Now, whatever they believe within that spiritual system is on you. Okay. But you're not about to convince. You're not, it's gonna be a hard sell. It's gonna be a hard sell. And then what I know, especially when I saw the people, the Niger, and then it's a couple of things. It's a lot of things those black people wrote that stuff. Y'all know that. We've been knew that. We don't need nobody that ain't, that ain't about like, oh, they black. We've been knew they was motherfucking black. I went to a black church growing up, and there was the Jesus with the dreads as a Nazarite on the church, the dark skin, not a light skin, dark skin. Right when you walk your black ass in that church, and you go up the stairs, there's now. Should you have a graven image? No, whatever. These were Jacobians. Like this isn't. These are very cerebral. They. It's like you very deeply spiritual, but your relationship is, your personal relationship with God is very personal. So it's kind of it's not worldly. It is not secular, is not the best word for it either. I would say it's nature based. It just felt more, it's more about holistic. It's not all this propped up, all these laws like the Pharisees and Sadducees and all of this religiosity. It's nature based. Just be natural. Just be yourself. Be yourself. And so when we went in there, you go up 2 motherfucking stairs. 1, 2. Boom. Picture of black Jesus with the dreadlocks, dark skin. You turn, you go into the what's it called? At the pulpit, sanctuary. Boom. And you see burgundy and white, which is, that more, that's how you know. And then sometimes blue, purple and gold. A lot of purple. And gold. What are we doing? And niggas want to sing, and you gotta have a choir, and that's how we're gonna develop up that musical power again. The choir, puberty school. We want these kids singing in the choir. We want these kids going on trips, hanging out with each other. No bullshit. We ain't no pastor touching the youth and like some Eddie Long stuff. None of that, because the women is gonna be taking over, and we want intelligent women, queen mother women, lion. Okay, lion, Lion, elephant women. Okay, what else? Panther. Okay, what else? What's the other qualities of some of these cool? Dolphin. Character traits of these type of animals: intelligent, playful, loving, stern, disciplined, military scientist, strategic. That's what we require. We're not playing. Like, I don't understand. We don't want to hear about this nonsense. Everything. You want to chastise the daughters. You want to berate the girls. You're jealous of the girl. She fast. That's a curse. Stop all that bullshit, man, and get your shit to fucking together. A comparison with some girls or some women's and all that. Just shut the fuck up and just be comfortable with yourself. Shit. And so that's what we wanted. That's what we do. Talking about when we talk about strategy behind Black Church. Water navigation. Remember we talked about that already. You know, but and it's not to put a cult against religion, because to be honest, both sides is off the rails to me. You got all this occult knowledge, you got all these religions, and you see the state of the planet, you see the state of the Black community. So to me, it's like, I don't. It's a binary thinking. It's a binary system. So for us, that's strange to us. It feels like a false dichotomy, to put yourself in a binary system like that. So we be like, okay, well, what about the creativity? What about just creating something new? What about just combining something? What about just reconfiguring, through multiple, different ways to combine a system? Create something new then. If this stuff ain't working, if it's not working, let's do something new. They're not there yet. They're not. They still want to do Democrat, Republican. They still trying to force niggas in a binary box with some failed. They running crazy candidates. Like, what are we doing? They punish intellects. They punish leaders. It's the worst type of punishment, to punish an intellect. Ain't about to sit online reminiscing about the '90s and stuff when we stuck together. Nigga, do it again. Especially not about to hear from a nigga that sold out to hold us out. So miss me with that. But we don't want to be in a binary false system. No advanced being wants to. But all this occult knowledge, all this religion, y'all want to go back and forth and fight each other, throw curses on each other, whatever. But it's like, look at your planet, look at the Black community. What good was it? What good was it? And then if you did have the occult knowledge, you didn't decode it properly. You didn't. They didn't even decode the Yeshua stuff properly. If they knew it would be this, they would realize it's the same shit. Them parables that you find in them areas with them Nigeria River secret societies, the Timneh and all that, and Simpe and all that. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's getting outrageous. I'm just saying, I'm not here to fight. I'm not here to be caught up in smear campaigns and bullshit. People could just ask a question. Niggas could ask a question, because it's not about asking a question. It's about painting a narrative, an agenda to undermine me. That's all it is. That's all it is. But I want to tell you, this is, and we about to end it. We talk about like how they have to pay you to lose. They have to pay you to lose through your humiliation rituals. That's what they instead of, like, I'll give you an example. So say in the industry, they started commercializing music and making everything sound the same, making everything packaged. And so the soul was missing out of it. And so then they wanted to make it where only things that would certain sound would get played, or certain, if you're talking about the detrimental stuff, drug, sex, rock and roll, and even violence. And so that's paying someone to lose, like how they pay someone to lose a boxing game. You could have beat them, but they paid you to take a dive. You could have beat them, but they paid you to lose a football game. They literally pay people to lose football games, to lose basketball. They have to pay you to lose in order to compete with you, or they just block you. They have to pay you to lose in order to compete with you. And then they want to break your spirit, so they want to put you through humiliation rituals and all this bullshit to augment your behavior, ruining and knowing. It's pretty much annoying because it's like if you knew yourself and you know who you was, you would know that martyrdom is your honor. You would never fold to a motherfucker like that. So what they have to do is humiliate you and degrade you because they know that they don't deserve you, or they can't even afford you. So they have to devalue you in order to get it. And you want to run from people that do that. You always want to run from people that have to do that to you, and how you beat a society like that, because they pay you to lose. They had to pay, what's that, it's a couple of people that have been paid to lose. I think Anthony Joshua won his thing though, right? Like even that Cam Newton situation. And I really don't, I don't watch his show or anything, but there's some speculation that they paid him to lose that Super Bowl or something like that. Something the last minute, something with that, when he said he froze or something with that football. Whatever. They probably paid his silly ass to lose. Even when you think about like how they pay certain people to put a certain image of us on the TV, love and hip hop, baddies, gossipers, or the gossipers you pay to lose. Now, I'm not saying that that's losing, because like a lot of those women, they getting put on, they making some money, whatever. So I'm not trying to like judge. I don't want to come off like I'm judging them. Um, but when we say collectively, like just showing the oversaturation of women fighting and just punching and beating and and all that stuff, that's what we mean. Obviously, they living good. They living better than me or whatever. But when we say collectively, image wise and cultural wise, you're losing in the long run, because now the women want to aspire to do the same thing. And we saw that, and so that's what I mean by that. I'm not saying that those girls are losers. I'm not attacking them. I'm saying the deficit collectively as a whole, when it comes to the cultural aspects, it 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 means we're not, it can, is the potential to lose. You see the relationship issues, you see the gender war issues, you see the divorce rates, you see all these things. They have to pay people to lose. They pay people to go online and bash black women. Y'all see, I know that they was paying those black men. Oh, come on here. Oh, she a hair hat. Oh, she's a hooligan. Oh, she's a beast. Oh, she's this. Oh, she's that. They pay that motherfucker to lose. You know, the shit on his community. So he made sure his community didn't win. To lose, they paid them to lose. The gossipers, everybody's gossiping. Oh, we exposed this. If they needed to be exposed, expose their motherfucking ass. But some of this shit is just gossip. It is. Like I'm one for a good exposure. We GIA military science around this motherfucker. We like shit. We do intelligence, reversion analysis. We like, what did they do? What did they say? We looking for we really looking for some shit listening, and we like, just some gossip. They don't crime. Oh, so and so was addicted to porn, and we saw she was playing with herself, and what? She was addicted. What? That ain't. You made it seem like she's exposed. I couldn't believe. I literally saw a video of it. She's exposed. But I'm thinking the crimes. I'm thinking we about to hear some crimes with some children. We listening to hear about the crime that was going on with the trafficking, and we listen to that shit. I'm listening to get some intel. And I know I didn't just hear that. Oh yeah, guess what, y'all? She was a that ain't no somebody. I mean, you don't want nobody addicted to porn, but we looking for, did she have something criminally to do with what this man's condition is? We trying to get down Is this spiritual crime has been committed against this kid. That's what the fuck we trying to hear. And we couldn't get it because they gossiping about somebody's porn addiction. Like real shit. I'm not gonna name the people that's all involved. That I'm just saying, like, y'all said this dude was put in this industry at this, it was violated at this age, and he was underage, and they making these claims, and we're trying to get down to the bottom of it, and these motherfuckers just end up there. Yeah, well, that ain't a crime. You said, and then they had it in the title. They had it in the title as if there was some criminal activity. And we listening to us. That ain't no thing. So they're gossiping. They pay you to lose. They don't pay you to lose. They pay you to sell out your community. And that's the only way they can win a war against you. And I hope you guys know that. That's the only way they can win a war against you is to have you sell out your community. And you don't love yourself. You have to value yourself. We have to believe in our morals. And there is a hard price to pay for low self-esteem. I have paid it. I'm speaking from experience. And I'm getting more and more healing, you know. But when people is obsessed with controlling what go on in your nigga mind, and especially when you got a lot of power, when you got a lot of light, when you got a lot of love. And so you have to know that. You have to know thyself, and you have to be protective of your energy and preserve your promise. Reclaim your time. Reclaim your time at all times. Because these motherfuckers out here, they just weird. It's weirdos out here, as you guys know. I know you guys have experienced it. It's people that get power trips and egos just from like, from all types of crazy shit when they could just be themselves and don't want to. They just have to connect with. There's no, everything's transactional. People just don't want to connect just to connect. Just like it don't be like that. It'd be like somebody trying to mind, and you be feeling it like, but like just be yourself. Like it's like you're trying to control or exert some sort of authority or power or ego. You have an ego trip, especially the men. Oh, it's the men is terrible. You don't even want to interact with them. It's just like ugh, like ugh. I don't know what kind of PCI interface demon is jumping in a mind or something. I'm like, yo, I had to literally like wear a body cam to record the interactions now. Like I have because I'm like I'm being gaslit. This is low key and like it's certain things that people are doing, and I'm like, yo, y'all on some weirdo ass shit, man. Like for real, y'all weirdos, man. Like, ugh. Learn to communicate with people, learn to like yourself so you can be sociable with people. It's like, damn. Damn. So yeah, we all have to work on the things, but all I want to say is like there's a price to pay, but the beautiful thing is that recovery phase is the recovery phase from degradation of society. There's a recovery phase. Narcissistic abuse. There's a recovery from narcissistic abuse for those who've had to deal with that. There's so many people that's affected by that. There's so many people that's trying to exploit it too, because really some of it is just psychopathic abuse. Some of it is satanic abuse. Now they want to just throw sadistic on it. No, say what it is. It's been satanic fucking abuse. You people with fucking Satanists, you were doing wicked shit and fucking with chosen ones and fucking with people with light. No, we ain't about to cover it up just because you uncomfortable and exposed now. Shit. And like I said, they have to pay people to lose. They pay people to lose their game. Pay for people to sell out their community. You have your own empire, have your own infrastructure, have your own everything. You can be the own emperor. You can be the empress. Then you gotta be fucking qualified. And what do they say? They pay you. I'm gonna give you $100 million if you sell out your people. They just been doing that to 17 presidents in Africa. If you pay $100 million, if you just do not build up your infrastructure, just you know, this is what's been happening. And so that's how you lose the war. You lose the war when you've been selling out your own people. They trick you. You really became obsessed with money, status, attention, gossip, idolization, greed. They create a cottage industry of jealousy after they get you obsessed with money. It's all satanic. It's all illusion. You don't have to do it though. You can say, no, I will not do that. No, I will not be obsessed with because remember what it says in active philosophy. Nothing that is external from you can give you value. So how do you get your value? Remember what it also says. Nothing that is external from you can rule you. The moment you realize that is the moment you can become free. Now that is Siddhartha Gautama's teaching. But the active philosophy teaching is if nothing in the 3D, 4D, 5D realm, if nothing in the five sense consciousness can give you value, how do you derive your value? And that was a koan for only you to answer. The money is not going to give you the value. You know that. The idealization is not. So what is it? And you have to answer that. That's the koan for the Nike philosophy, one of them. And so we also want to say racism has its is consequences for that too. And we know that. You see all they talk about the state surveillance now. They changing all the terms of services. All these terms of services crazy as cat shit. Can't join. I'm like, damn, I can't get on that site. Can't use this site. I gotta delete one of the other sites. They trying to force agentic storefronts on people. So I said, damn, I gotta delete that whole store. I don't mind because I'm not playing with these. I'm not attached to nothing, and they ain't never let me rock anyways because they've been fucking hating. So I'm like, what the fuck? It doesn't. This system doesn't mean anything to me because it's too low frequency. They attacked me. They attacked others. They still attack people. They just attack people. But we make it, we thrive, but that's racism. I'm not attached to a racist system. I'm just not. I ain't trying to fit in with it. I ain't trying to fight for equality because I'm a cosmic being. And why the fuck would a cosmic being be trying to be equal with someone that is racist? If you are that unintelligent where you can't evolve out of a skin color and you know that you have a soul, why would I want to be around anybody like that? Why would you want to? Why would I want to? And to niggas get that level, and they gonna be right where they at. But you have to. But there's a price to pay for racism because they got all this. Oh, the state surveillance is coming in digital currency, digital social ID. Well, they've been doing that shit to us. I give an example. You did it to yourself. You did it to yourself. How do you know that? Did you not have Black Planet? Black Planet was started by a Black person. I'm the dude went to Harvard. Everybody had a Black Planet account, right? Everybody knows social media stems from Black Planet. It does. Go look it up. Black Planet. Dude from Harvard, Black dude, started Black Planet. MySpace, even the founder of MySpace, even gave him credit for that. Sure did. Oh, to buy chocolate, right? And she said, "I'm scared to eat it too." And that's a bad marketing, porter potty and Dubai chocolate. Now I get what you're saying. I follow you now, but it come from Black Planet. All the social medias. Founder of MySpace gave him credit. You could look this up. It's an interview. He gave him credit. He said, "Yo, I got the, he was the one that he was the pioneer for it. Black owned. The white folks didn't want, but they go and get Facebook, right?" And look at what Facebook is doing now. You can't delete your account. You can't. They own the IP to your digital ghost and all this crazy shit. I just deleted my Facebook, and I really really hated I do that. I had a friend that I just had get in contact with for 10 years, and I had forgot to after I had deleted it and then remembered like damn I wanted to ask for her number or email or something. I was so bummed because 'cause you have family on there, you have family. But I said when I saw the patented of the digital ghost and all that, I said I'm out. Oh no, y'all bugging, bugging. And so I had deleted my Facebook. But remember when you wasn't able to delete it. Remember they was making it extremely hard. And remember they had these legacy accounts that you had to sign someone else like a damn will and stuff. I mean, what the hell kind of stuff is that? So you had Facebook and all of these AI and all this meta stuff. And then see what X and to see what the terms of service would happen with TikTok. And now these terms of service are very evasive. They're very controlling. They're very, they demonetize you. They're very algorithmically biased. But you had Black Planet. That shit was like the Wild Wild West. You was able to do whatever you want on there. Privacy policy, all that stuff. Even with me with matchblackwomen.com, I had came up with a little site. I had to, you make membership and you get to talk. It's like it was a dating site for women's, a dating site for Black women. And I remember thinking like, I don't want to know. I don't want people to think we want to harness their data and do all this and do all that. Do what the fuck you want. Just have a good time. Be respectful. Because use common fucking sense. Like how Google's original terms of service was don't be evil. That's what they needed to just keep. But they want to bind you, all this contract. Oh, this is legally binding, and all the perpetuity, irrevocable, unreversible, and in perpetuity rights to your IP, indemnification, arbitration, like all this bullshit. Anybody asked for all of that? But see, that's what racism do, because them white folks, that's how they think, and they try to bind people all up. And I'm telling you, melanated folks, we don't think like that. We just want to start the creative website, start the creative social media, be wise. I mean, you get something fair. You might have some sort of indemnification policy, right? Privacy policy, you have to have that. But you would be like, okay, it's fair. We cool. This is what it's supposed to be. Social media is supposed to be fun, to connect with people, right? Now it's just like data harvesting, copying, AI training. We didn't ask for all of that crazy contracts. And we just want to fucking use a site because you don't get. And so that's what it is. You got now you have Black Planet. He made that obsolete. The white folks didn't want to, whatever. And then the Facebook. Now you got stuck with all this damn AI weird, evasive terms of services. I'll give you another one. We had Organic Commonwealth. Organic Commonwealth was actual real like wholesale price. It was a membership. It was like wholesale for organic foods and products, and it was like actually like wholesale. Like you see retail prices when you're not a member, when you log in and you become a member, you see the wholesale prices. But we talk about like actual wholesale. So then Thrive Market came out. I get undermined. I had obviously it was 100% owned by me. I didn't have no investor. I did ask the Black community to invest. I did. Some people in the Black community. I did to no avail, unfortunately. But Thrive Market came out that's around that same time that I started Organic Commonwealth. And our white folks, they ran to support Thrive Market, and they weren't getting wholesale pricing though. They weren't getting like it was not like it wasn't major discount at all. And so I felt like they were getting played. I'm like, well, damn, if y'all weren't so fucking racist, and we had you had Organic Commonwealth, like y'all would actually get like actual wholesale, because we structured it in a way in which the membership paid for itself within one shopping experience. We wanted that to be, it was only $6.95 for those a month, and obviously cheaper if you go for, I think it was like $60 for the year, but it's like $6.95 for a month. And what we wanted for people to be able to save, or to recoup that membership within that first time they shop on the site, as well as actual savings. So when we say like we was using the actual wholesale price, and you guys know that for certain products you cannot show the MRSP if you drop it too low. Like you can only show retail price on certain things. You would have to bring people behind to actually show them some of the wholesale pricing. And we talk about like say things with Dr. Bronner's or um Miss Myers and all these things, some of these brands that are pretty well known. Well, that's what we did. You know, it was like the lowest we could think of, because we weren't really relying on the, obviously you have shipping, you have to account for shipping, because shipping is major, which we dealt with that too. Um, but we weren't really relying on the profits from the price of the actual product. Maybe that was dumb. I don't think it was dumb. I think it could work theoretically, because my mind has always been kind of post money. I even had a professor pull me to the side. She was a millionaire. She went to like Stanford, and she was one of the ones that took interest in like some of my ideas. And I remember she said, "You are creating from a space where it's not that these ideas generate money. We know that these ideas will generate money, but you're not thinking of that level anymore. Like you're not thinking to create for profit. Like it's like your ideas is always about like helping humanity, or help it. Like it's always about something about improving some sort of efficiency within society." And so she was like, you're thinking like your mind has evolved past money. And I remember she said that to me. She's like, your mind, you just create for the sake of creating. And it's true. Like, I'll be thinking that as I just be, and then it's hard because that's not the way that system works. It's like the capitalists come first, the profits come first. and then the innovation. And that's not how that works. See, we know that. We know that that is such a crazy way to be like, oh Lord, oh, here they go. But that's how they are. And there's nothing I could do about it because we don't have the same wavelength to, I feel, understand each other. Now I could do that maybe with my own people, but a lot of them, they want to be all brainwashed with like them and want to be all capitalist, not realizing where the actual gifts don't come from capitalism. That's zero sum thinking. Gifts come from another realm, another frequency, higher frequency than that. And it's not about uh again, we create systems. So like you can't put someone in a box like, oh, that's Marxism, oh, that's socialism, oh, that's this. That's in other words, motherfuckers, we can create an entire new governance structure, a whole new economic structure. That's like the level of advancement. Just create a whole new, like we don't like, why would you put like, so that's where I'm like, just combine stuff. Social libertarian, and we just like, okay, we just combine certain stuff and like, okay, let's just do something different here. But we seen that. So them people was buying that stuff thinking they getting a deal. They weren't really getting a deal. I knew that. I said, damn, but they had a massive budget. And I ain't gonna hold you. Like I just didn't have that money. I didn't have them type of funds, and so I said, well, whatever, but I knew. I said, there to go that money grubbing stuff. I looked at it from a very, very deep low. I said, they're not charging them what they could go lower, but the people don't know that because they don't know supply chain and behind the scenes of what that stuff actually costs a lot of times. And so whatever, they don't know they're getting ripped off pretty much. And that's why they was like, we have to really, that's when shit got weird, to be honest. When I started building that's when I started to feel that surveillance type of stuff, like that's, what I was telling you guys about with that target individual stuff. That's when it really repped up. hmm But another example would be like that water engine, like how they killed that dude that created that water engine and still got these issues with gas, and oil. Now you see what the oil stuff is going on. But black Americans over here created a water engine already. It's like y'all relied on y'all fighting a war about gas and oil, but you killed the motherfucker that came in your own country. This is racism. You killed the black person in your own country that already developed a water engine. That's racism. Now they gotta go. Now they in a war. Gotta send their own kids to a fucking war for some oil, somebody else's oil. You see how stupid they are? And so this is why we saying like racism. This is your own racism. It's a price to pay. It's a price to pay. It is a price to pay to degrade people just based on their skin color. It really is. It's sad. And they didn't gaslight and this narcissistic satanic abuse. Get the fuck away from, just get away from them. And he was going to sit and they talk about the BAFTA. Well, you didn't have to show up. You could have had your own awards. What did you expect? Like, you shocked they called you the N word and didn't want to gaslight you, talk about Tourette's. They've been doing that shit. My thing is, okay, we don't really have Tourette's like that. But since your first instinct is to you say the N word when you get a Tourette outburst, then motherfuckers, we don't need to be around you. Why would you want? We don't have that type of condition where when we get our outbursts, our reaction is to attack you based on your skin color, based on a racial epithet. But if that's your reaction, okay, we just don't fuck with you. We just don't be around you. We can't be around you. But no, they went to gaslight black people and was like, how dare y'all be mad at him for his mental illness? And like all that gaslight and stupid shit. Now you back and forth getting your energy harvested about some stupid shit when really you shouldn't even been here. You wanted to show up. You should have been rewarding each other. You should have been giving each other rewards. Then you want to do it after the fact. You should have been doing it. Should have been valuing your own shit. I didn't even heard about no damn BAFTA and all this shit. I don't know what that. I didn't know what the fuck none of that stuff was. I don't watch that stuff no more. Then you get mad. He didn't give you the Grammy. He didn't give yourself. Why do you come with your own shit? You got something superior to Grammys. You're the one that created the genres of music. So what the fuck you going to them to give you something that you know to give you something you the genre that y'all asses created. Just value what you got and put it up there because that's like how we built up Clubhouse and they shit on us. Build up Tubi, then they shit on us. Build up, all these other sites. Then they just, even MySpace. Then then they just push you out the paint and then try to take over. Then they always drive it off the roads. It's never popping after that. But just saying, I'm just saying, like this is comes from not valuing ourselves and hold it up in high esteem, and then crab in the barrel. You see somebody else that's more gifted, or see somebody, then you want to tear them down and beat them down in the pub. That's your fucking leader. Someone got natural fucking intelligence, natural fucking gifts, natural fucking bravery, military skills, whatever, fighting skills, whatever it is. Building skills, carpentry skills, plumbing skills. That's your leader. That's who you go to for that expertise. That's who you go to. You ain't try to. I'm gonna do. It's me. That's what y'all. That's the type of shit y'all be on, and y'all think God gonna see that. God, we see every. That's the type of bullshit y'all on. You're not qualified. You want to go and take what somebody else got. What they call it, destiny. So I all this weird shit. Steal other people's energy, copy and all this stuff. We see what y'all doing, and it's disgraceful. It is. It's disgraceful to us. You know. So it is what it is. But racism has a price to pay. It really is, and we see that. And I'm telling you, the Jacobians, though, they about to let off a can of whoop ass on you. Y'all had a chance. They saw how y'all did me. Like, damn, y'all that fucking racist. That's heavy racism right there. But guess what? A lot of people have been dealing with this shit, and it does cause PTSD, and it does cause you to want to isolate. It does. When I hear what these women be saying, they go through on the job. These women, they had these corporate jobs. I can't see how y'all would do it. I take a massive pay cut just to do the type of work I'm telling you. Like, I'm called the shit. I created $1 trillion invention, and I do not want to work in corporate America. I don't want to be around that energy. It feels foreign to me. It feels foreign, and I really don't even want to really talk with people. But like, and I hear what these women be telling me. I mean, I do think there's capacity to work in corporate, not corporate, but to work around an organization, probably, like nonprofit organization, a black um business, a black organization. I think there's room to work in that capacity. Or an organization that values diversity and respects people, respects women, respects children, like the organization that has some diversity. I could do that too. But I can't, like, when these girls have told me these stories about like how they have to deal with the racism from the corporate stuff, that shit is not appealing to me. And I've been in academia, and it's just not much different than corporate, and I see how you see it, you feel it, the energy's off, and you just be like, man, uh, it's just weird. But I'm like, are we getting punked? You know, um, and so a lot of people they'll take a pay cut to work for themselves, or they take a pay cut to have a flexible schedule and whatnot. Um, versus dealing with the rat race, and being on that hamster wheel. And that's another thing I want to talk about, because like I was listening to somebody that was in the music industry, and they was like, "Oh, we want to make sure that when we look at artists to sign, which I'm not giving into the music industry for those of us like, oh, we try to rescue you the first time from the politics stuff when they was at messing with you. Don't Now you trying to go back and now you trying to no. You don't have to worry about that. I'm just studying music theory, and it happened to be I was actually studying some music law, and it happened to be from one of I was listening to, and she said when we look for they want consistent. The music industry wants consistency, and I'm looking thinking about it. So they want to make sure that you consistent, and I'm thinking in my head, y'all don't have no credibility to tell nobody what. When I think of consistency from them saying that, all I hear is them saying, "We want you to be consistent so we can exploit your shit, or train our AI, or have other people copy your shit. We need you to be consistently supplying us with data so we can have other people copy your shit so that we can rip you off." That's all I heard. Because I'm thinking the reason why I say that is because music is not created at it can't commercialize the creation of music. Music is created from this raw organic space of frequency. It's just expression of the soul. Like you hear like D'Angelo say he took 3 years to create an album. Some people took 10 years to create an album, and some people are prolific. They'll create 1,000 songs. Like Sun Ra had 1,000 songs. So they're constantly doing music. That's, so when we talk about consistency, that's subjective, especially when it's certain. When it's about music itself, you have to feel that. I mean, you could create slop bullshit, but the consistency is for the artists themselves, and for whatever you made the commitment to yourself or the agreement with yourself, that you honor it. That's more important than having to feel like you have to prove to an industry that you're consistent. You don't have to prove to anybody your consistency. You just have to be consistent for yourself and with yourself, based on your ebb and flow of your energy. I was so shocked. I said, this industry has totally exploited Black music, have commercialized it, has caused pain. They have no credibility. And then the idea of consistency is arbitrary and subjective, because music is not created like it's a damn assembly line. It's a spark of light. It's not predictable. And so when I hear people say we have to have you consistent, all I think is you just need a motherfucker to be consistent so you can have a constant flow of content to still, why not paying? They not gonna pay you. It's especially for, I would say this, if you're a chosen one, if you know you got the light and you know who you are, they just, if you hear that, because this is the program they're about to put, they trying to put everybody under. You gotta be good. I'm not being on your hamster wheel. Your system ain't going nowhere. Your system, there's no innovation, there's no light. You don't feel no light. So what the fuck? So because consistent, so you could steal my shit. I have to maintain my light. Why they not even gonna pay you? They're gonna be ignoring you, having other people they put on copy you. But they still want you to be consistent. They say, she's like, yeah, you got to be consistent when no one else is looking, when nobody else is watching. Why would you just being yourself? And I do agree with that. But your consistency to yourself is more important. Your agreements with yourself. You don't have to prove nothing to these people because they don't have any credibility. You see, you caught them exploiting. You caught them being satanic. You caught them commercializing pain. You caught them traumatizing and monetizing pain. You caught them undermining your community. You caught them horrifically treating people bad. So they don't have any say in how music is created, is my point. I'm not listening to no corporation industry label tell me what they looking for as far as music creation. Bitch, it ain't gonna say, yeah, they want you consistent. Yeah, they want you a slave working on a hamster wheel so they can steal your content and steal and copy you. No, you have to be consistent with yourself. You have to protect your talent. They care nothing about consistency themselves. They all over the place. It's just the hamster wheel shit. They want you on that hamster wheel so they can steal your shit. Like I've been putting them in these videos every week. I'm not monetizing nothing like that, but I know I've seen it. I've documented some stuff I didn't even publish publicly. I've documented motherfuckers copying me. So they want me consistent so they can just keep having, because they don't got no light. The people that be copying me, they have no light. They have you could totally they have totally sold their soul, and you can see it. You can see it in the eyes. And I'm gonna teach you Negroes how to assess light in eyes. The eyes is the window to the soul. And there's a lot of soulless motherfuckers around here, and they not NPCs. They know exactly what they doing. They know exactly what they doing when they go after a motherfucker, when they go after a chosen one, when they copy a chosen one. Don't think they don't. They know exactly what they doing. And so we have to be aware of that. We've been consistent as a motherfucker. I think 22 books in 5 years. I think 10-hour lectures for a whole entire fucking year. I think that's pretty fucking consistent. All I see was you bitch ass motherfuckers go and steal my shit and try to get paid off of somebody else's content, and your content, and you don't have shit to talk about but some gossip about some exposing and some other niggas. But then when somebody, you come up with some deep shit, come banger, now everybody want to act like, come on, be yourself. Be yourself. Be rooted in your identity. Be rooted in your own IPU. Be rooted in what you know is for you. Stop worried about what somebody else saying. It's not a competition. I don't compare myself to you motherfuckers. I don't see. I'm not talking to the people that's listening. I'm talking to the people that's copying me. I don't see y'all on my level as on my level. I don't. Now I'm very humble, and I've learned from so many people, and I'm grateful to learn from motherfuckers. But I'm not out here thinking, oh, I don't need nobody else's fucking energy is my point. I don't need to harvest anybody else's energy. I got my own soul, I got my own light. And I know that, you know, seraphs can be very arrogant, and that's why you gotta say, you know what? Time out. Go to planet Earth so your motherfucking ass can learn something. Because we've been doing this stuff. I'm telling you, we're a mess. We the best. But we can be a mess. Messy, yeah. Messy, yeah. Messiah. Messy, yeah. Messy God. Pay attention. Messy, yeah. Messiah. Messy God. Messy. Messy. Who was messy 2,000 years ago? But who was, then you got to be, architects are messy. Architects are messy. You got schematics you got to build. You got systems you have to build. It's agile. Shit don't work. You got to tweak, tweak, tweak. I be tweaking. What's that? I be tweaking. I be tweaking. I don't need no friends. I'm that girl. Is that I'm that girl? Yeah. Yeah. That's that song. I like that song. What's that song? Trying to go to it. Yeah, you know my love. You know love is my weakness. Don't need drugs for some freak shit. I'm just high all the time. I'm out of my mind. I'm tweaking, tweaking. There's so much codes in that song that I didn't break it down no more. But let's see. What is the definition of tweaking? Let's look at it. Not the slang one, the actual definition. Because we talk about architect. It is to improve a mechanism by making fine adjustments to it. That's what tweaking means. Okay. Improve a mechanism by making fine adjustments to it. Or a living organism. Living organism, we tweak it. We build up these agile blueprints and they have to be tweaked, which means you make an improvement to the system by making fine adjustments to it. I be tweaking. I don't need no friends. Freaking on the weekend, I'm indecent. I be pulling up in that 92 D-Vel Cadillac with them folks losing my mind. BBB stand un-American. I don't need no friends. I've been thanking for my un-American life lights in these deep flawless skies. Off the deep end, such a heathen. Why they let me outside? I put relief in. Bring the beat in. Now I can breathe again. This call like I want to break this shit down, but I don't want it to get nobody in trouble because this is like some intergalactic shit right here. I be beating down the block, knocking Basquiat's off the wall. Now, for those that's in the know, remember that song, Live Your Life Off the Wall. Remember that? Live your life off the wall for people who know the different levels of the dimensions, of the stratospheres, of how to get out and back in. Look, I ain't trying to blow up nobody's spot. I'm just, look, I don't mean no harm. I'm just saying I thought that was cool. I thought it was clever. I thought it was really, really, really clever. And live your life off the wall. Okay. Because I know that there's some women that's advanced enough to put all that together. Not many, but it's enough. Okay. I'll be beating down the block, knocking Basquiat's off the wall. Why they let me outside? Put relief in. Bring the beat in. Now I can breathe again. Pay attention, ladies. Because I know y'all be, oh, is somebody I'm Jenny. Jenny, 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 Jenny. Come on. I'm talking to Cole right now. Okay, we almost done. Yeah, but I'm like, nah, y'all motherfuckers ain't about to sit up there and have working me like a hamster wheel. Talking about some you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent. It sounds like a damn satanic motherfucker talking like that. When I be hearing it, like it be like a demon. I be hearing it because I'm like, yo, you gaslighting me. I done wrote 22 books in 5 years, all owned by me. I got hours, 10-hour lecture videos just teaching high level scholarly shit. Like we go through the sources, JSTOR. Like y'all not about to fucking gaslight me. Y'all ain't getting like no, it don't work that way. You're not paying, and then they ignoring it, acting like they don't know who the fuck you is, but you see them steal your content within a week. That's some bullshit. They want to make it seem like we need to go and work for their approval, and we need them for nothing. And that's all you need to know. You need them for nothing. You go work on your time, on your schedule. Work on your time. Okay, what's I'm being consistent with what I agree, what I said for myself. They ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. But that is important. Now that part I agree with. The agreements you have with yourself and building up trust within yourself. Now that I do agree with. And that is important. And that's what I'm working on. But I'm not sitting up here going let me gaslit and oh you need to do this, you need to do no, yeah, no. All I hear is I need more shits that I can steal. That's all I hear. That's all I get the hell out of here with that. You ain't about to gas like fuck. So that's what you say when you hear that because they lost credibility. They commercialized try to commercialize Negro music. Do you know how powerful and spiritual the music is for human creation? It's a universal language, regardless of where it's out on the planet. When you hear something that sounds nice, you get it was a representation of your culture. You hear the Persian sounds, you hear the Japanese sounds, Asian sounds, Negro sounds. Latino sounds or the music. You know when you hear that boom cha cha and the salsa sound and the merengue sound, you're like, oh, that reggaeton sound. Oh, that's day culture. And you hear, the jazz sounds, and jazz made it all over the world, but jazz comes from Negro. You hear the jazz sound, saxophone, piano, funk sound. This is what's represented of your culture. Same with the other sounds. You hear some cool uh uh what's it, Sanskrit sounds. I got all types. So whatever culture you're in, you hear music, you're like, wow, that's the representation of their culture. That's kind of dope. That's not, maybe if you don't even like it. Maybe you don't even like it's maybe it may be like, oh my gosh, I never heard nothing like that before. Maybe you do like it. But when it comes to our sound, the Negro, you do create all them genres, oh, you're gonna get your ass and create more. And you're gonna be protective of this sound. Okay. And you're going to document it and you're not going to be worried about what that engine says, what gets worthy of recognition and what's not. And they don't know shit. How is somebody you would create these powerful songs? What would they know about being able to give you a reward for something that you created out your ass, out of your soul? So music is not created like a assembly line. It's well, it can be. I'm just saying. I mean, you commercialize it. Yes, it is. When you bring in capitalism, then yeah, but I don't agree with that, and I think that you end up in situations like what you see today, oversaturation. And really, it's not the sound is the same. They want to mimic each other. It ain't no, and so that's the situation you run when you want to commercialize and bring the capitalism into it versus if it's just that rawness. Niggas get the banjo, get your motherfucking with the good banjo, you got drums, and we just on our land, and you making that sound, you making that song, you making that melody. Then I'm just saying that was what happened, hundreds of years ago. Now, obviously, we have all these different tech gadgets and gear. We have so much gear, so obviously we wouldn't need to. I mean, you can get a banjo and a harmonica and you keep it natural and get a piano and try. That's also great too. But that live instrumentation, electronics, and that's what it has to continue, and you create from that space. And you may have to take a couple of days to really work out the melody or the harmony of what you want. And you don't want to be rushed in that process. Maybe you feel like it has to be a spark. When I hear people say, that took me 3 years, that took me 7 years to create my album, better be a fucking masterpiece. You better not just have been stalling. But D'Angelo motherfucking ass, he said he took 3 years. I could imagine that album came out. It was, whoa, it was like, wow, good work. So it can take time to get that sound, to get that. But when you want to rush it, and then you get, come on, it's about something you need to do consistent. Like when they say they put that 19-year-old girl on that 10 album deal, a girl that couldn't even sing. I ain't trying to be messy, y'all, but she couldn't even fucking sing. Why would you put a 19-year-old in a 10 album deal who cannot sing, who doesn't even have a look of talent? That's how you know that's devil, man. That's that bullshit. Who she can't write music. She wasn't playing instruments, and she literally could not sing. Who was gonna do 10 albums with her at 19? That's what you trying to trap a motherfucking soul. And she was trapped. And remember, she said she was a sex slave. Come on now. Because when I said that, I said that's a spiritual crime. How the fuck would you put a 19-year-old in a 10 album contract and she don't write music, she don't sing, she don't, you know, because I said I'm trying to get the context. I said, well, what if, it was a 13-year-old kid, right? They had been writing music and playing instruments so they was 13, 14 years old. By the time they're 19, they already have about 300 songs in their catalog, 300, 400 songs. And then they signed to a 10 album deal, but they already play all these instruments. They already got 500 songs in rotation and, that they own still a 10 album deal. And so I was thinking, like, God, would that have been fair? Like, I'm thinking, like, would that have been fair if it's a 13-year-old? Since 13, not 13, they 19 now, but since 13, they have been writing and playing piano and playing and writing music. And, by the time they're 19, they got a good 300 songs. And then somebody gives them a 10 album deal. That still seems exploitative to me, even if they have that much music already. And again, I can't act like I'm a music lawyer because I'm not. But when I heard a 19-year-old that cannot sing, I'm not being a hater. She cannot sing. She doesn't play an instrument and she doesn't write music. It made no sense. So I said, "Oh, y'all doing some more other stuff." Because that wouldn't even make sense. It didn't say be consistent. Ooh. You see what I mean? That's profit. That's when you bring in capitalism and that's when you commercialize something. That's what happens. Now, somebody else would have been writing and having to do all that for her, but then they never did it. She got into a deal and was relying on a motherfucker who was treacherous to produce all these things for her, and they never even got to it. And then she said she was a sex slave. See what I'm saying? And so you have to watch these things. You have to watch that stuff. If you're youth and young and stuff, don't be sorry. You can't sing and whatever. You will get that money. It's advance money. You thinking you making it out. You ain't getting shit but play. You about to get a wet asshole and a wet mouth and a cum full of mouth and a wet ass and a busted asshole. So, go independent route. We got videos with the music department at Knox University about frameworks for independent artists or how to sell the music through your own, even physical copies. And we had to do cool vinyl flash, which is like the flash drive that you put the music on. We come up with that cool idea for vinyl flash. We come up with a new framework for touring for um, combining some of these artists together and then having them go on tour. And we had a lot of music festivals and summer festivals with some of the artists, so that they can tour together. If they can't sell out these arenas, they can tour together and have a theme. We covered all of that. We hours long. Like, actually saw some cool machinations of it. After I did the video, I was able to find Black artists, coming together to bring these tourings together to go on tour, to bring back some of the 90s and bring back some of the things and things that we thought were cool growing up, some of the songs we listened to, but also they can uh, make money and then and put food on the table. But then we also come with the Joy Music influencer program, which we wanted it to be a youth summer program and seasonal program, rather seasonal, to influence joy in the world through artists and their work, be it on campus, community centers, uh, government institutions, and even grocery stores, and then to have literally subsidies, like literally pay, people to perform music in the stores and joy influencers. So we talked about that too. Cool things. And speaking of that, they saying that Generation Z, they saying that y'all motherfucking asses is not dancing in the club. Is that true? They say Gen Z is not dancing in the club. Now, I don't know how true that is because I don't go to the clubs no more. I used to go to the clubs in high school, so I'm clubbed out. By the time I got freshman in college, I ain't gonna hold you. I had a 4.0 fucking GPA, okay? And I just doubled down and booked someone to the fucking library by the time I was in college, freshman in college. Okay. I was clubbed out. I was like literally 17, 16 at the club. And I had to hook up with some friends or whatever. I was drinking. Okay. And so it was a hole in the wall club, it was ghetto. The ghetto. The ghetto. But we were dancing, we were shaking that ass. And y'all saying the Gen Zs don't like to dance. Y'all get y'all asses up off that wall. They say y'all like to they say y'all like to uh rent out the private VIPs and sit up on the wall, the VIP. I'm telling you, man, we were wild back in my day. I had a friend that would just get drunk, take off her shoes and jump on the damn bar table. Like motherfuckers was jumping on tables, like millennials. I'm talking about, I'm 34, he getting up there. But motherfuckers was jumping on tables. Nut if you butt, find up if you butt, tied up. If you butt. Oh, remember swag. I mean, we had so much motherfucking dancing. If y'all need some inspiration, and I ain't saying our music is, whatever. But I'm just saying, they say y'all don't be dancing. We had some cool little dances back in the day. We did. We had Mimi at the track. It's going down. Remember that thing you used to do with your hands? I used to love doing that as a kid. I know the music. I don't listen to that music anymore. But I'm saying we used to do Meet Me at the track. It's going down. Do, 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 do. And what's that? We used to be cut a jig at the club, man. We did lean with it, drop with it, lean with it, drop with it. They said y'all don't like to do no dancing no more. I better go. What else we used to do? Shorty swing my way. Man, we used to. I'm trying to think of and what is them dance, them damn dances we used to do. We used to do a lot. Oh, remember that song? Hey baby, hey baby, hey baby. We in the club saying, hey baby, hey baby, hey baby, and it used to be like, hey baby, hey baby. So I mean, we was wild. I mean, like I said, I had a friend. I'll never forget. I'm like, is she really on the motherfucking table at the bar, going up and dancing wild, and on top of the bar? To took the damn heels off. I'm like, are you kidding me? And didn't nobody care. Everybody was dancing. But I'm saying, like, that's what y'all gonna have to do. Y'all gotta loosen up. I mean, no, I don't promote no drinking, so I don't think y'all should drink, but y'all going to dance and be social. Why y'all not dancing? They say, is that true? Gen Zs, what's wrong? I know they've got maybe some social awkwardness, some social anxiety because of the screens. As far as I was raised with internet. Like I love internet, but y'all motherfuckers like y'all had phones and iPads and shit at 6 and 7. iPads at 6 years old. iPads at 7 and 5 years old. I didn't have no cell phone until I was 15 years old. And it was a flip phone. It didn't even have a fucking camera. Gee, it didn't have a camera. You couldn't even get on the internet. It was just a flip phone from Cricket. Remember Cricket, motherfucking ass? From Cricket. $40 shit. Was it? It might have been cheaper. Yeah, about $40 a month. Yeah. Remember? No, it had to been cheaper because I paid less. I paid $25 a month now. So what was Cricket's phone bill? I think the phones might have got cheaper. I think that's probably the only thing that did get cheaper was the cell phones. As far as the monthly payment, because I'm paying $25 for unlimited everything. But back then, Cricket, I think they was about $40 a month. And they had the flip phone, motherfucker flip phone. It didn't even have the camera. That's what we had. I mean, I had some friends that, I never cared about stuff like that, but I had friends that cared about the type of phone they had them spend more and wanted the Galaxy, or what was it called? The Blackberry. They wanted the Blackberry, they wanted the Nextel, and so, all my friends had the real fancy shit. They used to look at me like I was crazy. They did. I got clowned so much, and my friends started. They said, "Man, you don't think to get no." I said, I didn't want to pay for it. They said, you come on. And I remember my friend say, come on, Jen, come on. Not because I was bragging. I thought that, my mind was kind of reversed because we were in high school. So I'm thinking like, I see let's say you see a $500 phone, right? You see a $300 phone. You see $100 phone. You see a $25 phone, and they got the same capabilities. You don't really care to take pictures. You don't get on the internet. You just want to talk and call your friends and talk some shit and text motherfuckers. In my mind, I get the $25 phone. Now, I was working at a daycare at the time. I could have gotten a better phone. I was working at that time at 15 years old. I could have got 300, 400. You know, everybody get to get their little summer youth check and blow $500. No, I'm like, yeah, I can save my money. $25. And that's what they had at that time. They had the $25 phone. And I will never forget. I said, yes, I was like, yeah, I got me a good deal. Oh, this was such a great deal, guys. Yes, I got me a new phone. And they're like, oh, really? Now they got all the little nice little Blackberry with nice little, just the beautiful color and stuff. And I said, yeah, I got this. I've always been neurodivergent, but in a cool way. And they say, okay. I say it's 20. I was only $25. Like, whoa. And they knew that you can afford more. You just didn't want to. I didn't. It works. It says it's text. I've been texting. I've been calling. It worked. And I remember my friend said, "Wow, I have to say, Jim, I'm for a deal too. I like to get a good price, but man, I don't know if I ever could do no $25 phone." Never forget. She said, I know. I don't think I could go that low. 20. And he started cracking up, like, "Damn, girl." I said, "Well," and they try to, and and it had been like that. And then, even getting older, I remember they would be trying to convince me that, like, you need to get a better computer. You need to get a better this because people are going to judge you based on what you. Especially when I was going to Columbia, I had a Toshiba. They're like, "You need to get a Mac," and I did forward and get a Mac, and that Mac ended up fucking up and breaking anyways. But she's like, "You need to get a Mac because they're gonna look at you," and I'm thinking like, I want to, I don't care, but I did end up. I have to say, it was better experience than what I had, as far as with that Toshiba. As far I do have to say that as far as the computer itself, but so I do understand, like they say, like you get what you pay for. But I have to say, them phones back in the day, that was good quality shit. I don't care what nobody say. That little $25 phone, it was the blue cricket phone for $25. Everybody know when your mama, when your phone broke, when you broke the screen and she ain't get paid or something, it was a couple of kids at Hutch Tech that had that damn phone. Now they was hiding it. See, I didn't give a fuck because I didn't care. But they were high, they didn't want nobody to know they had that little blue phone from Cricket. And then but yeah, yeah, shit. They say Gen Z, I don't want to dance in the club. Y'all better listen to A Baby, A Baby, A Baby, and get to dancing. Why you ain't shaking them legs? I better be doing the James Brown. Why you ain't shaking them? And why you ain't rolling off on the floor? Have a good time. I hope that's not true, but I get it. They were raised in that screen. We didn't have, like I said, we ain't had shit till we was 15. And actually, parents did not like them phones. When we got I remember my friend's parent took her cell phone because she was like, she act like her whole personality changed now that she got a cell phone. She's like, I do not like that cell phone for her. She's like, so I took it. I took the phone back from her. But we didn't get tech like that till we were 15. And so we weren't getting no iPad or we were getting like flip phone shit. But these motherfuckers, the Gen Zs they had iPads, phones, laptops at 6 years old, 5 years old, 7 years old. And so they were it's a different vibe. When we were forced to ride bikes outside. I just got me a bike, and I've been trying to get balance on it so that I can go ride it outside. I can get my balance so that I can, I said, damn, these bikes. We were forced to ride bikes outside. And we would go to. I remember we would always go bike shopping at least once a year, maybe twice every. Was it once every 2 years to get a new bike? And we would go right to the store and the bikes were already assembled. These days, the bikes, they don't come assembled if you get them on. Go into the store and go and fit and ride and ride the bike. We used to ride the bike in the store and buy it right then and there. And buy it right assembled. Had them put the air in that shit and ride that bitch right off. Put it in the car. I remember we used to you had to put the seats down and put the bikes in the car. Sometimes we had a big ass truck, so we got lucky. So as far as we having to, sometimes I think the bikes can go on top of the car too. No, we rode bikes, and that was fun. I gotta get me a helmet now. I gotta get me a helmet and some motherfucking knee pads for my bike. I'm gonna be out here looking like a nerd because I gotta protect my. I'm kind of nervous when I fall over. I'm trying to get my balance. I got the balance, but I just gotta take it out and ride it out. And get used to outside and stuff. But I said I need to get me a motherfucking helmet and I didn't want to wear the helmet when I was a kid, but I don't care now. I wanted to be look cool as a kid. These days, I said I need to get me a helmet and some damn knee pads. I'm getting older. I'm gonna bump my head somewhere. Yeah, but y'all, that's the issue. They didn't have they weren't told they had to go and get them bikes. Go get them these kids these days. Go get them, take them to that Tarjay, not Tarjay. I think they said it was boycotting Tarjay. What's that? What's them the bike stores? And I know you go to them stores that got the bikes already assembled, and had them kids do a fitting and get them a helmet and had them outside riding them bikes. Hopefully, they got other friends in the neighborhood or other siblings they could play with. Yeah, but I wouldn't. I think that's another thing the black community should bring back. Them kids shouldn't be getting no tech until they about 15. Leave it like how it was, because even we still got addiction to the internet and shit. Even my generation, and so, but even still, like at least they can remember what it was when they didn't have it and what they did when they didn't have it. Like I was a crossword puzzle geek. I had to word search and crossword. It was a word search. Remember that? I had that whole book, word searches. And then and so I was grieving because my adopted mom had just passed. So I would listen to the A. Marie CD. I would listen to all I have of A. Marie CD and just do the crosswords. And then I make the dance to her song. Oh, I'm not gonna talk about that. I'm gonna get up off here. But they had the crosswords puzzles. That was my thing. Cross searches, bikes, you know, um, the little games, little hand games and stuff. Yeah, and I think like if we get back to that, I don't think we should give them kids no tech until they like 15. I really don't. I really don't. And bring them crosswords back and crossword books and cross searches and them books where what's it called where you get it's like the I Spy where you got to find it's like a mystery book where you got to find all the elements and I like those too. I still got those too to this day. I still got those. I like those where it trains your mind to spot things. Them little books where you gotta find this part, find. It's 11 items, and I got one that say this is the hardest book. This is the hardest search and the hardest I Spy book in the world. Hardest hidden puzzle book in the world and stuff. I used to also like puzzles and bring back them puzzles. Remember them puzzles on them damn pieces? You could sit and get some puzzles, get them kids some puzzles and stuff too. So that way they brain is working, they having some fun. And then also the board games. Connect Four is what was my favorite. Now they got that stuff online too. But when we was growing up, we played Uno, we played Connect Four, we played what's that motherfucking Trouble, we played Operation. Remember that one Operation? And then you hit the dude and that was fun as hell. But I like Connect Four. I like Trouble. I remember I think it was a game called Sorry. Obviously Monopoly. We played Monopoly. We played all them board games. So we just get board games. And remember Twist It, Bop It. As far as the youth today, as far as how they raise today, these kids today. If even if you don't want to get them the toys and you want to have something, because sometimes you want to be careful what kind of toys you get them, and what kind of toys you bring into your house these days. But if you can, the Connect Four is pretty simple. Checkers, chess, the games for the kids. and keep them entertained and get them a bike and make their ass go outside. And get, they like these days I'm telling you, they be on that phone at 6 years old, talking and in front of the video game, talking with their friend online at 6 years old. In front of the video game online. About playing some violent video game too at that. About some grand theft and shit. And killing and all that stuff. Oh no. That's too much. Then they this messes up. They brain not developed enough for that. 6-year-old, 7-year-old, it's like do they orient themselves around the world better when they first introductions is Grand Theft Auto at that young age? Like really, like that's programming, and so mm, I would for me. I'm just saying that's why I don't have no kids, and I really is scared. I wouldn't want. I would to me. I wouldn't want to bring kids in this world. Um, But, I don't have no kids, and I thank God every day. I wouldn't I'm not they want the women's to take care of the men's in this community, and I just can't bring myself to even do no shit like that. I'm not one of them, like, hustler type women. Like, I have a very powerful aura energy, but if I would have to I would have to get with someone that was a hustler and that because I work, but I'm not materialistic and I don't like to work. So it's like I'll do the just enough to get me by, but I'm not about to I value my time. And so I couldn't be with somebody that I have to take care of. I could never take care of a man. Like we would live in a what we gonna get paid off of our good looks? What we gonna get paid? What we gonna live in a damn cardboard box? They would have to be more of the hustler, more of the worker, more of now. I have ideas. I know how to bring money. As far as the way that the way in which women are naturally gifted to do. But there is no way in hell. Like how they like to have the black community with the woman being a breadwinner and then the dude just want to play video games and spin up your shit and drive your car, leave your car on E and bring it back and gaslight you and act like he applying for jobs. And no, not over here. No, not over. I wouldn't even subject myself to that. I would never subject myself to that. Stop, no go. No, I just would never do that. I would gladly. They would call people old maid. I don't give a fuck because I already know that. That's all I know is that all I see is stress and headache and death. Like when I think about that, that's just stress and headache. And if I'm gonna stress, like they had that song that I could do bad by myself, I could do bad, and I'm gonna do all that. I just worry about myself because I'm not about to be sitting there just working to the bone, working to the bone, working to the bone on a hamster wheel. Now I don't expect the man to do that either for me, but I like if the guy is a little more into material and a more of a hustler spirit. Like I had a girl say, she said she's such a hustler. She said that they didn't have. She said she was low on funds or something, and she said that she just went and bought a whole bunch of candies and then stood outside with her and her son and said she raising some money for her kids. I guess it was something for her son, and she made it seem like it was an organization. She didn't lie. It just came off like very organizational, like people were donating to the actual organization if they buy the candy bars. And she went and stood in front of the store and did that. And she said she had $1,000 at the end of the day, and she had an extra $1,000 for her son to go on that trip. She said, I'm a hustler. And then she said she did something else for several days. She said at the end of the day, they had $300. And I was thinking in my head, like, ain't nowhere in the world I would have thought of that. Now, as intelligent as I am, ain't nowhere in the world I would have the energy to go and do. I mean, I did it when I was a kid, but I thought it was really fascinating. I'm like, I said, really? She said, yep. She said, I'm going, I went and that's her thing. Materialistic people. I mean, that's what she values. That's her personality. And I was actually like, damn, I wish I actually admire that because I don't think of how I'm going to hustle, how I'm going to grip, how I'm going to get some money out of some, I don't, and my mind, it don't come natural to my mind because I do believe in a post money society. I do. And with a post money society, ideas matter. You welcome to a world where the best ideas win. your merit wins. You don't get points or rewards for stealing other people's ideas. So to me, like consciousness development is where my mind is at. And that's what separates man from animal. And then what this system does is promote acting like an animal, hence all the exploitation and theft of ideas, like the Aleister Crowley stuff, like the music industry, what they was doing in the music industry. It always promotes the inverse. It's not promote, so everything is like inverted. And so that's why promotion of, like the promotion of that high, that post money. I know we're not there yet, so I don't care to do all that. But what I will say is that it's easy to come up with a currency, even a physical one, even in today's time, in lieu of digital tokens and all that nonsense. There is a way to carve that out. I do have a working blueprint on that. That's not going to be published online, obviously. But yeah, that I was just thinking about that. I was like, wow, that was really clever. You got, if women, you got to know yourself. If you know you're a hustler, then and you don't mind, but for some of us, we like the soft life, or we like to chill. We like to just keep it, coping steady, like something smooth. Like I don't want a life on a rat race. I don't want a hamster wheel. I know that system is designed to just harvest energy. Ain't no innovation in it, and I know it's a scam. I know you shouldn't be paying to live. I know you shouldn't be paying to have water and paying for electricity and paying for shit that's already free. And you hear these idiots. They say, I don't. I heard this girl say, she's, it's about racism killing them. Yeah, this white girl. She was like, yeah, she's, they try to get along too much with the government, and that's gonna be their problem. She gonna say, I didn't want a handout. I just want a fair wage. I ain't giving you a fair wage. And motherfucker, he's supposed to, you don't want a handout. God gave you the biggest handout. God gave us the biggest handout. Look at all those fruit trees. God gave us all them rivers, all them lakes, all them orange trees, nuts and berries, vegetables, roots, papaya, yams, avocado, everything you can think of, lemons, everything. That's your motherfucking handout. All them herbs, all those oak tree, all of that. That's your handout. All the grains that God, all this whole planet. That was your handout. And what did you do? Racism. Now the government is closed. All this bullshit this government is putting everybody through, and these people are still talking about something. I don't want a handout, and I just want. And then there was the white dude. I'm watching him. He say, I don't have a problem with law enforcement. Then you complain about all the laws in the books, about the zoning laws and permits. And he proceeded to bring out all these dog whistles about Chicago. Well, the violence in Chicago. See, that's your problem. Look at all these laws that undermine y'all. You talking about you want to get some land. You can't even build. You got to look at the zoning laws. You got to look at the residential laws. You got to have a permit for everything. You got to have a license for everything. That's racist. That's your racism caused that. And it backfired on y'all. Everybody's suffering because of it, because you didn't want, niggas is developing on their land. We don't want them around here. We don't want the residential laws to be able to come in here and do this. And we need HOA and we need this. And look at all them damn laws in the book. And then for this fool to say, I don't mind law enforcement. You have to specify what parameters and stipulations on which you want laws enforced. You say you don't want law enforcement. Okay, we're gonna pass a law for the Patriot Act. We're gonna pass a law that says you can't grow food in the bakery. We're gonna pass a law that says you can't zone past this permit. You're gonna pass a law that say you gotta have a permit to do this, to permit to collect water, a permit to grow food, a permits. You said you didn't mind law enforcement. That's what you said out your mouth. They on video saying that shit. This is a white boy. I don't mind law enforcement. And in Chicago, and then your ass is wondering why the government come up with all these crazy ass laws for you. That everybody, like, you know what I'm saying? Because they the ones that say some shit like that, thinking that, okay, yeah, as long as we black people gonna get the short end of the stick, we already know they gonna get the short end of the stick. And then your motherfucking ass we all we all in the fucked up situation behind it. That's the risk. That's the risk. Oops. Boldly Boldly say, "Stay pretty and dust free." Where did this mute at? Did the other thing mute? Wait a minute. How long? I hope I wasn't muted too long. I don't know what happened. Yep, but that is right. Stay pretty and dust free. That is right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Hope it wasn't okay, but nonetheless, I'm about to get up off of here. God bless you guys. Be easy. Or God bless, because you see, what it means be less. It has the same frequency of bliss. But stay luminary, stay blissed, which is rest, and stay pretty and dust free, like Boli Boli said. Okay, let's end that on Rumble and on here. Goodbye, guys.